Sanctuary of the Mechas. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151. People ready to make a move. Time passes, and the world never ceases to change. The so-called natural mecha, which debuted nearly a decade ago, has been continuously refined. Home use models are now available, helping busy families with cleaning and other manual labor. There are also security and industrial models. Their performance has been continuously improving and evolving in recent years, becoming a symbol of this city and a part of people's daily lives. New Century City, one of the largest metropolises in the world, is undergoing further development. Not only on the surface, but also beneath the city itself, several areas have been opened up for public access. Many are still under construction, and numerous secretive organizations and research facilities are hidden deep in the darkness. Located in the heart of New Century City, beneath the 3rd District, lies a large research facility. Underground, as the name suggests, is a hidden, dim, and difficult-to-notice place. There, a woman dressed in cyan and with long crimson hair walked through the corridors of the research facility and entered a dimly lit room. This was the control center of the Research Institute, with a circular staircase leading down. The woman was Guanling, and below was a middle-aged man in a white coat and glasses. He had half-gray hair and a wrinkled face. Noticing the woman approaching, he turned his back to the flashing screen, looked up, and said, "Hello, Guanling, long time no see." Guanling, now holding on to the upper railing, gazed down. "You're a researcher here. It seems you have a lot more power now." "Yes, I'm the highest-ranking official in the research department, as you should know." "Yes, I do. So please don't greet me so cordially. It's disgusting. You'd better remember that it was you, the researchers, who killed my parents over a decade ago," Guanling said coldly. Hearing this, the middle-aged man in the white coat said, "You're still remembering that incident? It wasn't our intention. A machine's run amok, like a driver in a car accident, is unpredictable. It's about time we forgot about it." There was no apology or respect in his voice. Like the machine he had created, he was following the program. Speaking to me in such an attitude is extremely unpleasant. Dr. Zufeng, what's the matter? You asked me to come here specifically, Guanling said, changing her tone. There's no point getting angry now, and this isn't the time to lecture him. There's still a lot to prepare, let's get to the point. I've asked you to come here today to show me something interesting, a new invention, Dr. Zufeng said. At this moment, he turned to the large screen and pressed a button. Suddenly, a circular underground chamber opened below, revealing a dark purple mecha with a triangular shape and multiple pipes on its back. The mecha looked unusual, its structure unassuming, rather than aesthetically pleasing, resembling a demon. What is this? It's a product of the new era. Of course, it's not something for sale to the outside world. It hasn't reached that stage yet. Let me explain briefly. It has a physique of 2 meters and 80, and is in a load-bearing form. The core part has been modified and has a new advancement. The comprehensive capabilities have been greatly improved compared to before. The combat capability is very strong, and it is especially suitable for operations within the area. It is much more useful than the big guys. Advanced? Is the modified core still in the natural form? Guanling asked. Hearing this, Dr. Zufeng smiled and said, "Have you been discovered? As you said, it is no longer a natural form. It should be called a supernatural form. The energy required can still be extracted from nature. Not only that, the load capacity has been greatly increased. For example, the energy of the land is absorbed, and the land will crack. Is it beyond the rules of nature? Then the performance of the body will also change." Yes, the structure has changed, so it is a product of the new era, an enhanced version. A video of the mecha appeared on the big screen. The structure, defense performance, speed, and power were all different from before. It was a monster beyond the boundaries of the natural mecha. Well, impressive, isn't it? It's still in its experimental stages, and by the way, it can be unmanned, so there's nothing to worry about, Dr. Zufeng said complacently. This is really unsettling. Why are you showing me this? Guanling asked. Because I want to tell you something else. What? Guanling asked, puzzled. This city is now the world's most advanced place. Its symbol is this natural-shaped mecha, and of course, There are many scientists who have made great contributions. The city's overall economic development is very good. Looking back, it used to be just a second-rate research institute, but now it's like this, Dr. Zhu Feng said, stretching out his arms as if he had reached the center of the world. He must have believed that this was now a unique and world-changing giant, that research institute. Guanling had a vague impression of it. It seemed to be an obscure organization called Wing. Please don't be like this. I don't want to hear you bragging. Let's get to the point. Hearing this, Dr. Zhu Feng straightened his attitude slightly and said, don't be anxious, young man. Let's start from here. Although we are second-rate, we are also well-known and have competitors. That organization is different from us. It studies the human body, the 4 elements, the 5 elements, and the transformation of life forms. When the original spirit was discovered, they were already studying those things. They are our enemies. They seem to be planning to create super weapons, super creatures, superpowers, and do some shameful things. Yes, you are almost the same as them, Guanling said. Hearing this, Dr. Zhu Feng snorted and said, I don't deny that scientific research and progress are based on sacrifice. Experimental subjects are necessary. The sacrifice of a few will bring happiness to more people. The one who says this is just a rotten guy, Dr. Zhu Feng. It's a problem of quantity. We act more in accordance with the laws of nature, while they are more unscrupulous. So we can survive on the surface better, but they can't. Here is the latest intelligence. Let's call it the Element Research Institute. Is going to hold a Mecha conference soon, Dr. Zhu Feng said again. Indeed, it's been going on for 4 years now. On the surface, it's a public welfare event, meant to help the world better understand the role of mechas, as well as various entertainment activities. It's always a bustling event, with participants from all over the country. So, that organization wants to take advantage of this opportunity to put on a show, and their intelligence has been leaked, probably intentionally, as a declaration of war against us, to prove who's superior. Dr. Zhu Feng chuckled. Here, we have no choice but to accept it, right? That's why we need to develop new tactics, play them a game, and ultimately defeat them. This will probably be an experiment, a human experiment involving weapons and, more importantly, humans, an experiment wherein complete products harm each other? That's really not funny. Don't make it so grand, Dr. Zhu Feng. Of course, we can't affect the progress of the conference. You don't need to remind me of that, Guanling. As you said, we strive for perfection, on the surface and in the depths. The researchers' competition could be described as such, but in reality, both sides are likely unscrupulous individuals, a vicious struggle between evil parties, with no right or wrong. What's the point of telling me all this? Guanling continued. Yes, there is. I've been sitting here researching, constantly observing the changes in people and the world. Guanling, especially you, tell me, if there's a war, which side would you be on? Us, that side, or perhaps your own independent faction? Hearing this, Guanling shook her head. Is that why you called me here? What's the answer? It's okay if you don't choose, Doctor, I've been thinking this before. Are you really a pervert? Guanling opened the other door and walked out. Hearing this, Dr. Zhu Feng smiled. Even if she said nothing, he could just continue to monitor her, and the answers would naturally come out. Perhaps, as she said, she was a foolish pervert who had come here just to have a few words with her. Chapter 152. People ready to make a move. Guanling left a large research facility, one of the secret bases of the city's creators. As one of the early adopters, she had some understanding of this. She had known about this darkness for a long time, gradually since the accident. Even her name had changed, but these were past events, unimportant to revisit now. Why had she acted? Who had restricted her? It truly baffled her for a moment, to the point where she felt the mission was their fault. Her life was in turmoil, disoriented, and she couldn't discern the right path. Regardless of all that, why did people live? Wasn't it to seek happiness, ultimate joy? Wasn't it to escape suffering? So why did she seek support? Why did she have a loved one? Ultimately, what was the best, the ultimate destination, the ultimate peace? She pondered many questions, but for many, no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't find the answers. She had loved ones, but she had lost her parents. Even now, she was stuck between black and white. Why did she think so? Perhaps it was because of that doctor that she began to ponder again, which side she was on, which side would bring her liberation? The answer was unknown, as both sides held powerful backgrounds and were evil forces. Given this, she couldn't possibly side with either and established her own independent faction. Perhaps that was the correct answer. This was her plan before she went to the research institute, not anticipating anyone there to help her. If she had to choose, she would still choose herself. Undoubtedly, this girl's body had already made numerous preparations to eliminate any unfavorable factors. The direction of their actions was currently uncertain. Over a week had passed, and the Mecha conference was approaching. According to the New Century City's internal intelligence network, the opposing faction, the Elemental Organization, seemed to be planning to send individuals with special powers into the city. Or perhaps, they had already been in a certain area long before, awaiting orders. Their intentions were currently unknown. Like a game of chess, the situation remained unclear until a certain stage had been reached. In the research center of the Royal City, the capital of the new century, a man in his early 40s wearing a blue and white cloth received a call and answered it. He could see on the big screen that the caller was Dr. Zufeng. He said, "Mr. Pulin, it's been a long time since we last met. Are you still in good spirits?" "Not bad, actually. I met your beloved disciple today." Dr. Zufeng smiled. "Really? Is she okay?" "It's not that she's in good condition. She's as cold as ever." That's her way of expressing friendship. Hearing this, Pulin said, "No, Dr. Zufeng, you probably make her dislike you. You should not do anything unnecessary for the time being. Pay attention to the current Mecha conference. If someone invades, try to solve it with the least damage and without causing trouble to others." "I see. I will contact you if there is anything abnormal, Mr. Pulin." Hearing this, Pulin nodded slightly and ended the call. The Mecha conference is less than a week away. October has been a pleasant day, befitting the upcoming event. The conference is being held in the 2nd district of the New Century City, near the center of the district. Activities will cover districts 2 through 6, including cities like Clay. The conference is approaching, and the venue in the 2nd district, known as the Future Gospel Venue, is a dome-shaped event hall, one of the largest in the world. With the assistance of staff and volunteers, a large banner reading World Mecha Charity and New Era Innovation Exhibition Conference has been erected at the entrance. The streets are decorated with various flowers, and the environment is kept clean. On the other side of the street, a young man, approximately 16 years old, walks. He has black and yellow hair, and wears plain white and gray clothes. He is not very tall, and aside from his hair, he is a very ordinary guy. Perhaps some people thought he dyed his hair that way to stand out, but that wasn't the case. It was a natural condition, a common occurrence, perhaps due to genetics. He and others like him hadn't chosen it, but rather it was involuntary, a modification they'd undergone since birth. Lin Pingman, 16 years old, had come to this area on a mission, though that wasn't his own decision. Ahead of him walked 2 girls, one with aqua blue hair and a simple dress, the other with shoulder-length brown hair. They were walking in front of him. They weren't strangers, but fellow travelers on a mission, likely involuntarily. However, their rare visit to this famous metropolis seemed to interest them somewhat, as they'd often spent most of their time in dimly lit areas or engaged in various training exercises. "It really feels festive here, so bustling." The girl with aqua blue pigtails surveyed her surroundings with amusement. "According to the intelligence we got over there, the tournament is still a few days away, so it's not surprising," the girl with golden eyes and brown hair said. The aqua blue-haired person was Yu Xiaonan, and the brown-haired person was Yufan. Yu Xiaonan was 17, and Yufan was 16 years and 205 days old. "But since it's so rare to be here, shouldn't we take a good look at the culture?" Yu Xiaonan replied. "Yes, we should. While the mission takes priority, we should still observe the culture here," Yufan said. Right, it's so hard to get here. It's really lively here, and there seem to be quite a few interesting shops around." "That's right." The 2 girls, having only been here for a short time, seemed to be curious about the place and the surrounding culture. They glanced around, seemingly seeing something that caught their eye and warranted a visit. At that moment, the young man quietly called out to them, "You two." The higher-up said we should keep a low profile before the conference begins. Hearing this, Yu Xiaonan turned and looked back at the young man. "Xiaoping, now is the time to get acclimated to the surrounding terrain and roads. It shouldn't be a problem for us to walk around a bit to get used to it." "Yes, just like she said. Xiaoman, we're planning to go there next. That shop seems to specialize in women's clothing." "Are you coming too?" Yu Fan asked. Hearing this, the young man said, "Forget it. I'll wait for you nearby, okay, sisters, we'll go there first. Contact us if anything happens," Xingze said. He and Yufan hurried off to what appeared to be a women's accessories store. The young man could only watch them go, looking confused and a little dumbfounded. He had been here longer than the two girls and was more familiar with the area. Even so, he'd only just arrived. He'd just wander around a bit, thinking this as he prepared to move on. The young Lin Pingman thought the two women wouldn't be out anytime soon. So, he left. The man with the black and yellow hair wasn't without his own opinions, it was just that many people seemed that way. He felt freer when he saw things that didn't concern him. He walked slowly along the streets, uncertain where to go. There were many other people on the road, and suddenly, around the corner, he saw someone he knew. The man had dark purple hair and wore a student uniform, similar to the people in this city. He approached and said, "Pingman, are you alone?" "Yes," the young man nodded. "Where are you going?" "Nowhere in particular, just walking around here." "So, the others haven't arrived yet?" the dark purple-haired boy asked. Hearing this, Lin Pingman didn't intend to say anything. "Really? I didn't expect you to be involved in this mission. You're obviously not that great, you are the one. Why did you come here alone? Were you abandoned by your partner? How could that be?" "I'm an expert in acting alone," he smiled and said. "That's amazing." As he said that, the young man walked past him and went to the other side. He was not someone he could get along with. Chapter 153 Unpredictable. In the second area, on a bustling street, two girls on a mission wandered around a women's jewelry store, captivated by the intricate, glittering objects and other unexpected finds. Meanwhile, on the other side of the street, a young man, Lin Pingman, passed by a dark purple-haired man he once knew. As he passed, the man, dressed in a student-like uniform and named Xingze, said, "This is a rare opportunity. Come with me." With these words, a dark shadow materialized beneath the dark purple-haired man. With lightning speed, it enveloped the young man and carried him away. A moment later, the young man's vision went black, and he was transported to an unfamiliar place. Then, Xingze appeared before him. The young man asked, "Where's this?" "It's far off that street, in the nearby harbor. As you can see, there aren't many people around." The area was narrow, with a trash can nearby. This was a remote recycling area. "Xingze, what are you thinking by doing this?" "No, Pingman, in times like this, there are usually two options. One is friendly cooperation, and the other is a disagreement and a war. What do you think?" "I don't think either way makes much sense." "Let me hear your opinion," Pingman said. "Opinion, what is that? I can't quite put my finger on it. It's probably an uncomfortable feeling, a dark monster, similar to a snake, but not quite, with sharp fangs, gradually appeared in front of him. If you think so, don't look at me. We're on a mission now, and I don't want to waste your time." Instantly, several black blades flew towards the boy, passing by him. Xingze said, "Aren't most people alive just wasting time? Even if they don't notice, they're waiting to die. Are there any exceptions?" Pingping, hearing that name made the boy's emotions waver. Pingping, it felt like a name, a shortened form of his name. But calling him Xiaoping or Xiaoman was fine, but Pingping repelled him, as if it had touched something deep within his soul, an insult. "What are you talking about, Pingping? Pingping, isn't that just your name, a cute abbreviation?" Hearing this, the young man lost his temper and said, "Don't call me Pingping. Are you ready to fight?" "That's good. This kind of communication is more suitable for us." The shadowy snake in front of Xingze slowly moved, facing the young man. Its eyes looked fierce, and Pingman said, "What is that?" "It's just a paper tiger. Don't scare me. What are you mistaken about? My combat ability is superior to yours in every aspect. If I'm not mistaken, you're a half-finished product with no ability to use. Where did you get this information?" "Data, not just data. I've seen your foolish gestures with my own eyes." "Really? Spying's not good. My sister said that strength has nothing to do with data or past achievements," Pingman said. At this moment, the shadowy snake unleashed black blades from its mouth and shot forward. As it approached its target, it was dodged by its feet. The snake's black blades continued to spray, striking the moving target. He opened his shield at a blind spot, blocking the attack. He swung his hands forward, and instantly, blades of air pierced the air, slashing like sharp blades as they slashed at the black snake, leaving deep scars on its body. I heard you only knew how to defend. Do you have offensive methods? I have no choice but to stay alive. I've learned a little. Both were clearly determined to fight, eager to settle the matter in this remote harbor. Even they didn't understand the significance of that. It was simply a conflicting encounter. Both seemed to assume that the area was deserted and that being seen was irrelevant. They simply had to resolve the situation quickly. In fact, on the other side of the wall, perched in a large tree, a girl was observing the situation. She had sensed a strange aura a while ago and had come to investigate. Guanling observed the two men fighting in the harbor. This wasn't just a simple fist fight between thugs, but rather a unique force. It didn't look like a primordial spirit, but rather the legendary elemental. The four elements, wind, water, fire, and earth, make up the world. The same is true of the human body. It's possible to unleash different elemental powers through their combination. People often claim to possess superpowers, but to operate them with ease requires a combination of innate factors, acquired knowledge, and sufficient wisdom to understand the composition of these elements. The average human body cannot control the elements or manifest them. I heard they've been modified, and the two present here might be. During the clash between the two, a cyan and a red figure suddenly appeared between them. Guanling unleashed her powerful aura, pinning the dark purple-haired youth to the ground. She thrust her dark red blade into the ground, pressing it against Wei Ying's neck. Wait, who are you? Seeing the young red-haired woman before him, he knew he had no chance of winning and immediately called a halt. Before that, let me ask you a question. Are you a member of the organization called Element? Guanling asked. You are. Wei Ying felt a sense of foreboding, but then the knife suddenly burst into flames, its blade a dazzling crimson, scorching the ground. He dared not delay even a moment longer. That's right, I'm a member of Element. Please don't take my life, don't worry, I have no such intentions. I just want to ask you some questions about that organization. Hearing this, Wei Ying swallowed. Even if he hadn't launched a surprise attack, his chances of success against the man before him were slim. His instincts told him not to act rashly. However, if the organization's secrets were exposed, once discovered, it would be the end of him. This was precisely the premise for causing harm to the organization. Pretty sister, which side are you on? Me? I'm a separate faction. If you insist, I might say we have some connection to the city, but that's irrelevant. I'm just an observer, and I want to know some inside information. It's okay, I won't say anything. Really? That seems a bit complicated, or, forget it, you wouldn't say that. No. There are many shameful things within our ranks. It's better not to know. Look, if I tell you, I can't even eat dinner. The young man, who had been silent on the other side, had observed this for a while. Now, with determination, he rushed over, intending to push Guanling away and free her from her clutches. Wei Ying was surprised by this, but at a loss as to what to do. It was an idiot, really. He couldn't come over. Just as the young man was about to reach the girl, a crimson figure materialized from the flames, grabbed the boy's upper body, and pinned him against the wall. The scorching heat and impact of the flames caused the young man to cry out in agony, a wailing sound. There are elementals that use fire like I do. Right? Guanling asked. That's right. Of course, there are quite a few who can use the element of fire, Wei Ying replied. The young man beside her was still struggling. Guanling added, I don't want to cause a commotion. Let me briefly explain the organization and your mission. Faced with a situation similar to that of a threat, even if she didn't want to speak up, she probably couldn't. If it was a dead end anyway, it would be better to stay alive. Wei Ying knew that the other party had the power to know your deepest secrets, and she could never hide anything from them. Wei Ying chose to tell her before she suffered any hardship. After giving her the correct information, Wei Ying felt that this was safer and could not worry about what happened next. After receiving satisfactory information, the red-haired girl walked away from the other side of the small harbor. The two people left behind sat on the ground in a somewhat awkward manner. Pingman stood up, holding onto the wall. He brushed off the dust on his body. His clothes were a little torn. He said, I told you before, don't do this kind of thing during a mission. That's nothing I can do. Who knew something like that would happen? I don't want to have anything to do with you in the future. At this point, Wei Ying was no longer thinking about resolving the conflict with the person in front of him. Thinking carefully, why he had done such a boring thing before was also confusing. We still hope that the girl won't reveal the information. To be honest, I want to resist, but I can't do it at all. She's probably on par with Yaofan, Pingman said. Forget it, Pingman, let's plan to split up from now. I'm basically a reconnaissance type, so I'm leaving first, Weiyang said. The man said this and walked towards the other side of the small harbor, while the boy probably thought about buying a new set of clothes. Chapter 154 Shopping. Not long after, the young man, Lin Pingman, left Xiagang and received a call from his companions, heading to the entrance of a nearby shopping mall to reunite. Upon arriving at the entrance, Pingman spotted two familiar women and walked towards them. This seemed to be a mall, a good time to consider changing clothes. He wouldn't mind keeping them on, but his tattered clothes were a bit conspicuous. After reuniting, Yu Xiaonan noticed the young man looking a bit disheveled and said, "Xiaoping, what's wrong? You look like you've been abused. Were you attacked on the street?" Yu Fan asked. Hearing this, the young man replied, "During the parade, I met an acquaintance. He used his ability to take me somewhere, and then we couldn't reach an agreement, and an argument broke out." "Acquaintance? You mean someone from our organization?" Yu Xiaonan asked. Pingman nodded in agreement. According to inside information, that organization will have at least 7 people with special abilities participating in the mission, Yu Fan continued. "The problem is, we were discovered after that. It was Weiyang who argued with me, and both the organization and the mission information were exposed," the young man explained briefly. Hearing this, they also became a little uneasy. Yu Fan asked, "So who was the person who took you down and obtained the information? Was she very powerful?" "It's best not to delve into that person. She doesn't seem particularly hostile to us, and she's probably dangerous. So I think it's best to avoid contact if possible." "Really? At least tell me what she looks like, just in case," Yu Fan said, still appearing calm. The 3 people here were all experienced. Then, considering that they needed a change of clothes, Pingman followed the 2 women into the mall, sharing some information about the person and their plans along the way. Pingman's clothes were currently a disgrace, so the priority was to help the young man change. On the way, Yu Xiaonan, the blue-haired woman carrying shopping bags, said, "We've already bought quite a bit. We didn't just buy local specialties like idiots, we also picked out some clothes for you. Come take a look. I think you'll like them," the blue-haired woman said with a chuckle. "Well, all we have to do next is go to the changing area. It's right up front," Yu Fan said. As they approached the dressing room, the 2 helped the boy remove his tattered clothes, leaving him to walk shirtless to the door. The blue-haired woman said, "Let's start from the top. First, the top we picked out for you." With that, the 2 handed Pingman a red top. It didn't look suited to him, but that didn't matter. "Then, the coat we chose for you." As they spoke, the 2 handed over a dark gold coat, which looked gorgeous in appearance. Pingman took the coat and said, "Is this one too conspicuous?" "It's okay. It matches your hair very well," Yu Xiaonan said. "Next, the trousers we chose for you," Yu Fan said, and the 2 handed over the selected trousers. It was a dark blue pair of trousers, which was quite normal. Pingman said, "It doesn't matter whether you change it or not." Next, it's the spare shorts. As they spoke, the 2 handed over the shorts. This was obviously redundant. Pingman was indeed very low-key, but this made him at a loss as to how to fit in. Holding a stack of clothes in his hand, he couldn't help but say, "Wait, the autumn in the city is quite cold. Pingman, you will catch a cold if you don't change quickly. It's better to do it as soon as possible," Yu Xiaonan said. "Well, time waits for no one. Let's get started. Or do you want your sister to help you change?" Yu Fan said. Pingman is a person who doesn't like to talk much. The current situation makes his not-so-good brain unable to turn around. "Let us help you." "Wait. I can do it myself," Pingman said. He walked into the dressing room, but the 2 followed him in. It was too late at this time. After closing the door and changing, the boy completed the changing steps. Although he thought that many clothes were very suitable, it was difficult for him to refuse the kindness of the 2 older women. "I'm done," Yu Xiaonan said. "Okay, come out and take a look," Yu Fan said. The 2 walked out of the dressing room with Pingman and came to the mirror at the door. Pingman saw the figure in the mirror, a guy who looked a bit conspicuous, and then said, "This is a bit, when you go to a new place, you should wear clothes that are in line with the local traditions," Yu Xiaonan said. Although the blue-haired girl said this, in fact, she didn't feel like it was related to the traditions here, and she hoped to wear more ordinary clothes. "Not at all, ordinary citizens are not like this." Hearing this, Yu Feng understood and said, "You're right, it should be more simple, but you are still missing something for the mission right now." As she spoke, Yu Feng took out other items from the shopping bag, which was a hat. "How about wearing this, so you won't be so conspicuous?" As she spoke, she put the hat on the boy's head. Then, the blue-haired girl pulled out a pair of sunglasses and said, "Just in case, put these on too. That way, people who know you won't recognize you." With a head and sunglasses added, Pingman shook his head again, saying, "That's outrageous. Who's that in the mirror? This will confuse people, won't it? It feels a bit like a gangster," the two of them said in succession. Seeing themselves in the mirror, Pingman shook his head again and said, "That's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with your values, but this isn't just inconspicuous, it's suspicious. To truly accomplish what we're supposed to do here, we should remove the flashy clothes and useless accessories." "I see. You have a point," Yuzayan realized. The outfit change concluded, and the three of them left the mall. In the end, they kept their clothes, but they lost their sunglasses and hats. This was a compromise between them. Such unpleasant things happened all the time. But one thing must be made clear. Pingman knew very well that the three people here were not people walking on the right path. They had probably strayed from the path of ordinary people since they were born. As for the other two, they more or less understood the situation. Survival was their priority. There were still many unknown things waiting ahead, and at least they didn't want to die before then. This should be the choice most people would make, to prioritize survival, even if they took many wrong turns. When they arrived outside the store, Yuzayan said, "We are already in danger from now on. Either we have attracted the enemy's attention, or our intelligence will be exposed and we will be killed by our own organization. The worst case scenario is that we can only choose to escape." "That's right, but it doesn't matter. Continue with the mission. If we become the enemy ahead, just defeat them. We can consider other situations that have not yet occurred later," Yu Feng said. "Our luck has been pretty good lately. Let's go," Yuzayan said, and the three of them began to walk in the other direction of the street again. Next, they had to find a stronghold. Chapter 155. Before the conference. On a beautiful morning, I was heading towards the academy. One of the largest events in recent times was about to begin, a Mecha charity conference. Held annually, this year's event was particularly special, seemingly a triennial extravaganza. This was my first time attending, and it was said to be open to the public, with many international guests expected. Xingze College also had a large presence in the event, with events categorized as environmental protection, physical fitness demonstrations, and some more performance-focused competitions. Xingze College is one of the four most prestigious universities in the area, so the number of participants was enormous, with over half of my class participating. There were also formal team ceremonies, though this was purely formal. Aside from the entrance ceremony, I wasn't participating in any of the other activities. I intended to simply observe. I came to the academy with my sister Shuho. Shuho saw students busy preparing for the Mecha conference early in the morning, and she said, "There are still 2 days before the conference. Everyone is working hard for it, and many people are looking forward to it. What project does your brother plan to participate in?" Hearing this, I said, "I don't have any reservations about the conference. I will be a spectator. There are many interesting links in the conference, and students are looking forward to them. If there's nothing special to do, let's visit together." "Well, the conference is very large. If there's nothing to do, we can do that," I said. We walked all the way to the classroom, and we could see that the students in the class were eager to try, and they were discussing various contents of the conference. This year is perhaps the last year as students of the academy, and this conference is probably an event with special significance for them. Xingze, let's participate in the competition together. I want to have the final settlement with you on the stage." The red-haired man walked in front of me and said, 3 years have passed. Your skills have improved, right?" I said, "Of course. I have been practicing hard for so long, just waiting for this moment to come." "Stop, I don't plan to participate in that project." "You shouldn't ask me to go," I said. "What, you won't participate?" "Yes, red-haired man, why do you ask me to participate?" "That's to defeat you on that stage." Hearing this, I said again, "Red-haired man, I'm sorry, I won't participate." "Do you know who has the highest combined strength and fame in this academy?" "Who is it?" "It's Qin Liang." "Isn't he the goal you should pursue?" "Really? If you can't participate, then I can only." "Qin Liang, This person is the barrier in front of you, that's right. Come to think of it, I've been here for so long, and the only thing people remember about me is the color of my hair. That's because that person ahead of me stole all the limelight. So, since you can't attend, I'll turn my attention to him, the red-haired man said, walking back to his seat. You seem to have misunderstood something. 2 days passed as we each worked towards our respective goals. Today was the day the tournament began, and the city was unusually bustling. The flow of people was considerable, but the school area here was quite ordinary, outside the event area. This morning, my sister Shuho and I walked to the academy. There were quite a few people gathered near the academy because we were going to take public transportation to the venue. The tournament started at 10 o'clock, and we had to arrive before then, aiming to be there by 9 o'clock. Brother, there are so many people today, it's a bit like the atmosphere of a picnic, Shuho said. That's right, this is not a good thing. This conference will create a lot of garbage, and I always feel that nothing good will happen this year. Brother, why do you say that? Shouldn't we pray that the conference can end smoothly? Yes, I think so too. A conference like this is probably full of unknown secrets behind it. There must be people who come for profit. Part of the nature of this conference is like this, and those who really want to help have different directions of action, I said. As an elite, I also understand some of the conditions of this city. There are all kinds of human beings here, and the goals they pursue are different. They cannot be unified, and there are often contradictions. This should be the current situation, and I don't see any momentum for improvement from above. At that moment, a young man with a mushroom-like haircut approached. He, Diaribo, said, Xingze, are you discussing international affairs so early this morning? No, I'm mildly interested, just chatting, Shuho replied. That's right. Everyone's almost here now, so it's time to get to class and get ready, I said. That's right. We'll be leaving soon for the second area, Diaribo said, seeming quite excited. There were already a number of students and teachers keeping order, and a number of students were queuing for transportation. They seemed to be first-year students. This academy has different study systems, 1 to 3 years, 4, and 5 years. We then arrived at the classroom. Many students were already there, many carrying their luggage, while others had left it somewhere else. We were then heading to the second area, Fainting City, for the 7-day conference. During this time, most students would be staying nearby, either at the center of the conference or somewhere nearby. At 7:50, the homeroom teacher arrived. She stepped onto the podium, and the students settled into their seats. She then announced, we'll be leaving in a few minutes. To prevent any unexpected incidents, we'll arrive at the venue at 9 o'clock. So, everyone, we'll be leaving at 8 o'clock. Be prepared. We'll be boarding the college's special plane shortly. During the ride, please be orderly and line up properly to set an example. The students seemed delighted to hear this, for they were about to head to the convention site, the famous Future Gospel. Unlike the freshmen, we would be boarding a special plane, a privilege reserved for third-year students. More than half of the participants are here, and there are still activities to participate in the convention. If you're interested, you can still sign up on site. Be prepared. We are about to leave. Before you leave, please close the windows, arrange the tables and chairs, pick up the trash, and close the door behind you, the teacher continued. At 8 a.m., I left the classroom and headed for the sky tunnel leading to the college's special plane. From the oval corridor, we walked in line for a while, finally arriving at the other side of the sky. Surrounding the area were numerous sky tunnels used by Mechas, including one for specialized aircraft. We boarded the specialized aircraft and departed for our designated landing point, which was expected to take 20 minutes. We should arrive around 9 o'clock, which should be about right. On the specialized aircraft, Diaribo, who was standing next to me, suddenly said, I haven't seen that red-haired girl in the academy much lately. She's truly one of the most mysterious figures at the Shangling Water Academy. Hearing this, I realized the person Diaribo was referring to was probably Guanling. Diaribo added, she looks like an academy staff member, and I haven't seen her much lately. Xingze, you know, you've had a lot of contact with her. Hearing this, I said, I wouldn't call her mysterious. She probably lives in a different realm from you. Really? What's your relationship with her? Guanling, she taught me something. Nothing else to say. Guanling was considered a dangerous figure by many. She could converse with ordinary people, but she existed in a different world. Hearing this, Diaribo wasn't entirely satisfied. He turned to Shuho, who was sitting next to me, and asked, "Shuhua, what do you think?" Probably just like what my brother said, Shuhua replied with a forced chuckle. As he'd said, that person's judgment wasn't entirely clear to me. After a while, the special plane was nearing its destination, gradually heading towards the second area, the sky landing area beside the venue. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156 Opening. After emerging from the Academy's dedicated sky airport, the students lined up and marched in an orderly fashion, one after another, toward the venue. From this high altitude, the students could gaze down at the massive venue nearby. The future gospel venue, as rumored, was immense, resembling a village. It was dome-shaped, with a transparent glass canopy above open most of the time. Depending on the need, the upper eaves were sometimes closed, creating a total of 3 layers of protective walls. Also known as the Garden Plaza of Heavenly City, the venue boasted numerous attractions, including a cultural center and famous buildings. Is this as large as rumored? Is it the largest building in the world? A student asked. That's right. Let's go inside and confirm it later, another student said. At that moment, I could see a large crowd of people moving about inside the massive venue, countless staff members responsible for the conference, students from other schools entering the venue, ordinary passengers, and people from overseas. We could see rows of colorful flags hanging in the corners of the venue, some forming a circle in the center. The same pattern was also seen along the sides of the path, with many inscribed with inscriptions. Students, we will enter the elevator in order. Next, we will go down first and then enter through the side doors of the venue, the teacher said. The students followed suit, entering in an orderly manner. We then reached the first floor and passed through the outer door, leading to the side entrance outside the venue. We could see a long line already there, including students from our college and other colleges. Our class also entered. We could see other students from our grade, such as Qin Liang and Luo Kei. The students filed in one after another. The entrance to the venue was large enough, but it still felt a bit crowded. This reflected the sheer size of the venue. After our college students had entered, they were to gather in a central open space, a designated area. It was now 9:30. The venue we were heading to was where the opening ceremony was taking place. Surrounding it were numerous spectator seats, too numerous to count with the naked eye. People gradually filled up, some of which were reserved. After the gathering, there was a break, during which some students sat down to rest, some on the grassy area, and some on the shared wooden benches. At this moment, Qin Liang, a man wearing the same uniform as us, approached me. He said, "Xingze, a tournament like this is rare. I remember a similar rookie competition 2 years ago." "That's right," I said. "What happened back then feels like yesterday," Qin Liang said, his appearance even more solemn and handsome than before. At this moment, the red-haired man noticed the situation and walked over to say, "Xingze, and you, Qin Liang, it's been a long time since we last met. Meeting again on this stage is our destiny, especially Qin Liang. I want to see you on stage at this competition." Hearing this, Qin Liang said, "It's been a while, but I'm involved in environmental protection and public welfare, so I can't attend the competition." "Why is that?" "There must be a lot to do in 7 days, so I probably won't have such an opportunity." Qin Liang looked around and said, "What about my opponent?" "Who will be my opponent?" the red-haired man sighed. After a break, it was almost 10 o'clock. We students lined up and prepared to enter. Soon, the music for the opening of the competition sounded. On the central stage, the lights dimmed, and several more illuminated. Standing there, a man in his late 20s, dressed in a white suit, announced, "This year's special Mecha Charity and Exhibition Conference is about to begin. Next, please allow one of the organizers to deliver a speech." As he spoke, a man in his 50s, dressed in a brown suit, approached and took the microphone. "Welcome everyone from all over. This is our home. During these 7 days, everyone will live here as if it were their own, understand the culture, and work towards a better future. Please cherish this home." In today's economically prosperous world, natural mechas were born one day in the 17th year. They gradually became everyday assistants, helping people do things they couldn't do on their own, even ascending to the heavens. descending into the depths of the earth, and even into the depths of the sea. The man continued, they have many different uses. Over the past decade, they've evolved based on human needs, and this year marks a new stage of evolution. What I'm trying to say is that natural mechas are our assistants, friends, things to be cherished. We shouldn't over-rely on them, letting them take over our lives, nor should we recklessly use them for inappropriate purposes. As long as we maintain a balance, they can be valuable assistants. This year's Mecha conference is about to begin. Please experience the culture here. That's all. The man bowed, and the audience applauded before retreating to the other side. Next, let's begin the entrance ceremony. Rising stars from the major Mecha Academies, please take the stage, the man in the white suit added. The surrounding lights lit up, and from left to right, students emerged in groups, including our class. One after another, we stood on the grounds of the central venue. The Academy's students body numbered approximately 12,000, all from Mecha Academies across the country. The roof above opened, letting in the sunlight, illuminating the room. The man in the white suit continued, students from all over, thank you for coming. The future flowers of our nation are now growing. Please work harder to grow in the sunshine. Friends from all over the world, we are warmly welcomed. The conference now opens, the host announced, and the audience and students around him began to applaud. Light music played as the conference began. After the opening ceremony, we all began to leave the venue in different directions. The conference officially began, starting with a Mecha demonstration. As the students gradually left the venue, 2 red and blue mechas flew out from opposite ends of the venue, crossing the sky and releasing a smoke screen to signal the start of the event. These massive mechas, each 21 meters tall, drew cheers from the audience. Even I had rarely seen one this large. It must be a new type. Now, under the spotlight, they slowly circled in the air, displaying themselves before everyone's eyes. This is the latest type of integrated mecha, with superior defensive capabilities. Following the mecha's introduction, we simply exited as usual. As the students gradually left the vast venue, the display continued. The mecha's functions and range of applications were explained and presented. This was part of the public display, akin to the opening gala for the conference. For most specialized students, it wasn't surprising or boring. I was no exception. After this, students would choose their own next steps based on their individual preferences. Besides the 7-day duration, the conference offered a wide range of activities, with a high degree of freedom and strict security. Everyone, if you're registering or wanting more detailed information, please read the conference guide carefully. Don't be bored. Why not do something meaningful? If you have nothing else to do, why not join the environmental volunteer group? The teacher chuckled. Some students seemed hesitant, while others were happy to join. Chapter 157, First Day of the Conference. The Mecha display drew considerable attention from the audience, but in reality, such displays don't prove anything, nor do they lack practical application. It's simply a superficial display. It's all just a facade, revealing the truth. Those in the know have different opinions. Regarding future prospects, I'll probably be leaving the venue soon. Staying here doesn't make as much sense as those working on environmental protection. I really should join Qin Liang's side, but that might be inconvenient, so I decided to wait and see. Sitting in the noisy conference hall, perhaps the goal of human action is simply constrained by the system. The young Lin Pingman didn't know the end point of his actions, perhaps searching for the answer. Today was the first day of the conference, and our mission wasn't anything particularly impressive, just one thing, to demonstrate our existence. So what was the purpose? Those in power probably wanted to prove their power, that this was the right path, and to make more people understand the new world trend. It wasn't just about primordial spirits, but also about natural mechas and other things. What we need to do is just like how this conference unfolded. Here, the 3 of us, who are part of the trio, were merely supporting characters, the icing on the cake. That's what we were told. So where to begin? What should we do on this street? These questions weren't immediately clear. We were simply walking, like everyone else, yet different. If the world is divided into 2 categories, those who follow the right path and those who are lost, then I belong to the latter. Pingman had a clear understanding of this, and he was determined to find it. Pingman, let's go to the amusement park next, Yuzayan said. Going there? What are we going to do? Of course, to have fun, she added. That means experiencing the culture. Let's go. According to the map, it's around here, Yu Fan said. Okay, Pingman said. He didn't hesitate and decided to go to the amusement park with his sisters. He had only been there when he was a kid, and it seemed like everywhere was the same. He wasn't sure if it was just about experiencing the culture. But regardless of the good or bad roads, they had to go. The three of them headed to the amusement park together. The amusement park in the second area was said to be famous for its Ferris wheel and water adventures, according to the travel guide. The Ferris wheel is huge. We'd be remiss not to try it. We absolutely have to go, right? Yuzayanan said. Well, but they say it's at its most beautiful at night. Should we save it for last? Yufang said. That's right. Let's just explore the area during the day. Why don't we go see the aquatic animal show? Pingman suggested. That's a must, but before the show starts, let's try something else, Yufang said. The three of them planned to fully enjoy the park's attractions. As for the mission, they'd probably already put that aside. They decided to go play at the park first. Since there were no specific requirements for them to do anything, they had plenty of freedom. Pingman, Yuzayanan, and Yufan, known as the GR Trio, began their tour of the park, starting with the carousel, then the rotating coffee cups, and then the pirate ship. After a while, according to the park guide, the marine life show seemed to be about to begin, which would be just in time for the three of them. This marine life show was Pingman's idea? Why? Pingman, Yuzayanan asked as they took their seats at the performance hall. Nothing, I just want to see the sea lions. I wonder what they look like. Are they similar to male lions on land? Pingman casually said, is that so? They must be majestic, ferocious, and fearless creatures to be called lions. Well, at least their roar must be impressive. That's right, Pingman, I really like lions. Lions always feel like kings, Pingman said. They were animals that fascinated him. After watching the show at the aquarium, they realized that sea lions were very different from male lions on land. They lacked hind legs, manes, or deep roars. So why were they called sea lions? It was puzzling. They were simply following the crowd's lead, demonstrating the way these creatures live here. But it did earn some applause from the audience. After the show, it was already afternoon, and the three of them left the aquarium. Their next plan was dinner. There are plenty of shops near the amusement park, including dessert shops. Let's go, Yuzayanan said. Well, the prices might seem a bit steep, but there's nothing to worry about. We've got plenty of cash, Yufeng said. As they chatted, they began looking for a place to eat. They bought some snacks and headed to a premium restaurant, ordering their favorite dishes. After lunch, they rested for a while before setting off again at 2 p.m. for their amusement park journey. There were many attractions to come, including many they hadn't yet experienced, but they certainly didn't want to miss out. They planned to spend the day enjoying themselves. Meanwhile, the conference continued, with mecha competitions, operators competing, maintenance personnel, tour guides, and more. Qin Liang and others were working on environmental protection, while people were selling gifts near the conference. Visitors were visiting the amusement park area, and some were learning about the latest mecha information. At 5 in the afternoon, Xingze and I were seated near the center of the conference hall when a female student approached from the side aisle. I knew her. It was my younger sister, Lan Yu. I'd heard from her phone that she was coming to attend the conference, and her college was also participating. She approached Shuho and me, where there was an empty seat, and offered it to her. Sister, long time no see, Shuho said. This place is a bit too big, and the crowds are like ants. It took me a while to find my way here, Lan Yu said. It's okay. The real show starts tonight. You're still punctual, Shuho continued. Well, it's getting late. It's dinner time, and a lot of people have left, so there are a lot of empty seats. I was planning to go out. What about you guys? I said. I could find a quiet place, but this area is so crowded. Forget it. I'll stay here, Lan Yu said. Really? Then I'll be gone for a while before 6:30. You guys can have fun, I said. Hey, it's rare for us to get together here. Wait a minute, brother, remember to come back and we'll save a seat for you, Shuho said. There's still plenty of time to see the show. I'm leaving now, I said, leaving my seat and walking down the aisle. My next plan was to go outside. Staying here all the time felt like a waste of time, but it was also very chaotic outside. The surroundings were filled with a variety of atmospheres. This was a conference attended by people from all over the country. It wasn't particularly strange, but it felt out of place. It gave people a sense of what might happen, the special programs of the conference, all kinds of subtle atmospheres. I walked through the aisle there, and then through the passage leading to the outside world, to the outside of the central venue. Chapter 158 Visitors. Outside the central venue, I planned to wander around before finding a place to eat. I followed a path along the park south of the venue. It was already dusk, the sky gradually darkening, and the surrounding area was ablaze with colorful lights. A constant stream of people were strolling and lingering. I continued my journey, intending to turn left and head towards the shopping district, hoping to find a place to eat. The crowd was so large, I walked slowly, following the crowd. Suddenly, someone, caught off guard by the sheer volume, bumped into me. This person was tall and thin, no older than 18. They had short, golden hair with long bangs in front and back, secured with petals on one side. They wore a dark gold dress, making them quite conspicuous. While walking, she accidentally bumped into me. She looked up with hazy eyes and said, "Excuse me," then lowered her head and walked off in another direction. I simply nodded and continued toward the shopping street. The street was packed with people, the convention was bustling. I decided I had to find a convenient place to eat or give up. As I walked, the air was filled with the aroma of food and the tangy smell of people. Ultimately, I didn't eat, but instead walked through the shopping street, past the exhibition area. I walked through the exhibition area again and exited through the south gate of the venue. I found a seat by a tree in the park outside the venue and sat down. The area was bustling and chaotic, with all sorts of people around, not regulars. Like the blonde girl I had seen a while ago, she wasn't one of them. She had a different aura, a unique presence among the crowd. After that, I meditated on my mantra. After a while, I decided to return to the venue, keeping the agreement I had made with my sister. At 6:35 p.m., the second area, the amusement park, was bustling with activity. Those who hadn't been able to enter the venue to watch, or those who had grown tired of the event, flocked here. Among them was the GR trio, who were exploring the park's numerous attractions, experiencing numerous thrilling rides. Now it was their turn for the final highlight. The Ferris wheel, one of the park's hallmarks, soared 200 meters, offering panoramic views of the city at night. The young boy, Pingman, and the young girl, had already boarded the Ferris wheel at 7:15 p.m. after queuing. The Ferris wheel spun on its wheels. Pingman sat in his seat on the east side. Next to him sat Yaofan, and across from him sat Yuzayanan. Yuzayanan gazed at the vibrant cityscape beyond the Ferris wheel and said, "It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful at night." "That's right, take photos," Yaofan said, filming the aerial view of the city with his phone. "Yufan, please take a picture for us too." "It needs to be a picture of three of us," Yuzayanan said. At this time, she decided to move from the position opposite the two of them to the position side by side with the two of them, and fought for a space that could barely accommodate three people from Pingman's side. Seeing that the young man Pingman didn't react, she said, "What's wrong, Pingman? Why do you look pale?" Hearing this, Pingman said, "I've been doing it with you all afternoon. Roller coasters, rapids adventures, and strange rotating facilities circling in the air. I'm not feeling well now, and I feel a little dizzy. Is that so?" "You're so poor, Pingman." At this time, Yufan was holding a mobile phone, sitting in a pose for taking a picture, trying to fit the three of them in with the background of the city, and said, "How should I take the picture?" "Keep taking pictures, and then, get the angle right," Yuzayanan said. She leaned against the door and raised his hand as a commemorative gesture, and then the camera light flashed, and the faces of the three people and the hazy night scene were reflected. Surprisingly, the photos turned out pretty good, Yufan said after taking his own photos and looking at the results. "Really? Let me see too." The three of them took turns looking at the photos, then continued circling the Ferris wheel, quietly waiting for the end at 7:30 p.m. tonight. At the central venue of the Future Gospel Conference, the host announced the start of the night's Mecha competition. This program, considered one of the most popular, was about to begin. The host, dressed in a white suit, stood at the side of the stage, microphone in hand, announcing, "Next up is the Mecha competition." To the left of the stage are the senior Mecha users, along with their accomplices, the sky-shaped, third-era, specialized Mechas. The stage was currently set in a simulated city street, and a turquoise-blue sky-shaped Mecha hovered in mid-air, awaiting its next opponent. Meanwhile, a dark blue Mecha slowly emerged from the tunnel on the other side, arriving at a street intersection. On the right is a senior-level Mecha user from Maple Forest Academy, using a hybrid type, 3rd-generation specialized Mecha. Incidentally, there are now 4th-generation, natural-type Mechas, the host announced. Then, a large screen above the center of the venue displayed the Mecha type, the academy of each competitor, their portraits and names, and their respective HP. A countdown then began. Starting at 10 seconds, it gradually counted down to 4, 3, 2, and 1. The battle began as the sound signaled the start of the battle, and the Mecha's lights illuminated, energizing them to full power. Suddenly, a strange blue-green flame flickered in front of the dark blue Mecha at the simulated street intersection. The blue-green flame resembled a core, and suddenly, energy gathered, it exploded. The blast startled most of the audience, shaking the entire space like a bolt from the blue. As the dark blue Mecha prepared for battle, the blast spread, sending the 8-meter-tall behemoth flying. Crashing into the simulated building behind it, its HP dropped to 0 due to the severe damage sustained, resulting in an instant kill. This shocked the audience, including the host. The smoke from the explosion gradually dissipated, revealing the scorched ground at the intersection of the simulated city street and the blasted building to the side. Beyond that, trapped within the simulated building, a dark blue mech, one of its arms used to shield itself from the blast, was now 2/3 severed. Parts of its surface were scorched, rendering it completely incapable of combat. Fortunately, its operator escaped from the escape chamber in time and landed safely on the other side of the simulated city streetscape, on the other side of the building. At this time, there was a lot of discussion in the audience. Someone said, "What happened? What was that just now? Was it an attack by the blue sky-shaped Mecha? No. Isn't the use of dangerous weapons prohibited in this conference? Is it a special ability?" Just as everyone was discussing and the host was trying to determine what had happened, a girl with long snow-white hair and a gray dress stood up on a high platform high above the central venue and said into a loudspeaker, "Dear audience, dear friends, I'm sorry, I will replace the dark blue Mecha in this competition." As the girl spoke, she jumped down from the platform, lightly landed on the field simulating a city street, and bowed to everyone. At this moment, the host said, "Wait, where are you from? This martial arts tournament is a Mecha-to-Mecha showdown, so you shouldn't be among the contestants." Hearing this, the girl with long white hair turned and looked at the host in a white suit. "So, I'm the substitute," she said. She raised her hand to the sky. The screen in the venue flickered. After the chaotic radio interference, a middle-aged man in his early 50s, with a wrinkled face, appeared on the screen. He wore a white lab coat and looked like a researcher. He said, "To everyone watching the live competition, let me introduce you. Standing on the stage is an outstanding child from our elemental organization. I'd like to make an exception for this tournament and allow this child to compete in a friendly match against the natural Mecha representing this city. He's just a good person, no special weapons are needed." As he spoke, the girl in the center of the stage, illuminated by multiple lights, stood quietly, awaiting the organizer's decision. Her clear, sapphire eyes and fair skin were visible, and she was in full view of everyone. This is a conversation of friendship with a new century capital. Just like your crystallization, that child is also the crystallization of our elements. Let's have a conversation with each other, using fighting. At this time, the audience was talking in an endless stream. My two sisters and I were also witnessing the scene in front of us from the stands near the south. Although the distance was still far, we could feel that the white-haired girl was filled with some kind of dangerous energy. Chapter 159 The Mysterious Girl. In the central conference room, at the control center responsible for regulating the conference venue's internal operations, everyone watched through the screens as the white-haired girl suddenly appeared. The control center was also experiencing an unknown radio interference, which had caused an intrusion, resulting in the appearance of an unknown individual claiming to be an elemental. "What's going on? Is the radio interference over?" asked a short-haired, 30-something leader. "Yes, the system is recovering now. Please wait," a white-clad worker operating the system said. "Hurry, the situation outside is getting a bit troubling." A moment later, the short-haired man in his early 30s heard the intercom in his pocket chime. He pulled it out and answered. Upon learning that the caller on the other end was his superior, he switched to the other person's location via the screen in front of him. At this time, a man's face was displayed on the screen. The picture was hazy, but his eyes were deep and slightly shining. "Long Mu, you understand the current situation." Seeing this person, The short-haired leader in his early 30s who was originally arrogant also looked in awe. Yes, the system was invaded by an unknown terminal, and the system here collapsed temporarily. It was done by the elements side. The system has almost recovered, as you said. Should we interrupt the broadcast immediately now? No, we accept the challenge. Now that it has been said, we have no reason to refuse. Let's fight them for a few moves, but it's live now. Will this play into their hands? At this time, the picture flashed, and the figure disappeared. A moment later, Dr. Zufeng's face appeared on the screen. He said, "Idiot, if we don't do it, we will lose face." "Do it, Long Mu, I know, but I'm not following your instructions." Long Mu ended the communication. Meanwhile, the staff nearby awaited their superior's instructions. The host in the central venue was already urging them on. Seeing this, Long Mu said, "Agreed. Let's have some fun with that mysterious figure." At this moment, the large screen in the central venue returned to normal. The host in a white suit then addressed the crowd, saying, "We're very sorry, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, the entertainment program will now be an exchange between the nature mech and the elemental mechanist." With that, the screen replaced a Maple Forest Academy student's position on the right with a makeshift portrait of a white-haired girl. A senior student from the Mecha Academy versus a mysterious white-haired girl from the elemental mechanist. The audience seemed puzzled. Someone asked, "What's going on? How are they going to fight?" "Yes, that's an 8-meter tall mech. If you mess around, it's easy to get hurt," another person said. Everyone shouted, while others remained silent. At that moment, the white-haired girl in the central venue said, "Don't worry. As for how to determine victory, let's say I lose if I leave this venue." The host then said, "So, what that means is that the cyan mech on the left just needs to get that white-haired girl out of the arena." "Yes," the white-haired girl replied. "Is that so? Then the match enters the countdown again," the host said. As he spoke, the screen above began counting down, starting at 10 and gradually increasing to 4, 3, 2, 1. The match began. The cyan mech, hovering in the sky, circled briefly before slowly descending. Its pilot knew the key to victory was getting her out of the arena. All they had to do was control their skills and get her out. It was simple, and for a moment, the possibility of losing didn't even cross his mind. "Unknown girl, I'm going to get you out. Please cooperate. I don't want to hurt you," the pilot said. The student couldn't bring himself to use violence against the beautiful young woman, and simply decided to end the match simply. Hearing this, the white-haired girl, looking at the bluish-white mecha approaching from above, chuckled softly. "Same here." Instantly, a red-white nucleus condensate, shimmering with azure light, appeared in front of the bluish-white mecha. Under the radiant light, it blossomed and exploded with a loud bang, like a bomb exploding. Amidst the strange light, the bluish-white mecha, which was about to approach from above, was blown away, flying backwards for a distance before crashing into the virtual building. The blast rippled with the impact wind, but the white-haired girl remained motionless. Only the mecha had lost its combat capability. It could be seen on the big screen that it had finished, its HP value reaching 0, and its portrait dimmed. For a moment, the audience was stunned. Some were in awe, while others were bewildered, asking, "What's going on? What was that explosion? Is it really a power? Unbelievable. Is that a performance?" The host just said it was entertainment, so we shouldn't take it too seriously. The audience was buzzing with discussion. While the result was indeed unexpected, in this world, most people were already aware of the existence of people with special abilities, such as those possessed by spirits and other magical abilities. Thinking things over calmly, it wasn't so incredible. The audience gradually grew more enthusiastic, wanting to continue watching the show. At that moment, a text message pinged from the white-haired girl's pocket. She pulled it out of her skirt pocket and read it. It said, "Don't just defeat your opponent so easily. Let them move a few more times so more people can see what they look like. It's not that simple. It's like being careful not to injure an ant," the white-haired girl muttered to herself, then put her phone away. After a moment, the host in the white suit announced, "The winner is the mysterious girl from the elemental organization." Was that the power of the elements just now? "Yes," the white-haired girl replied. "Will we continue with the second match?" the host asked. "Yes, please prepare more powerful toys for the next match, preferably 3 or more," the white-haired girl said. Upon hearing this, the calm host began talking to the other side, suggesting that it might be necessary to summon even more powerful mechas. A moment later, the host addressed the audience through the microphone and announced, "Next, we'll proceed to the second match. This mysterious girl will face the mechas from the New Century City. There will be a slight change in the rules. Because of this mysterious girl, the next match will be a multi-on-one match. Is that okay, Snow White-haired girl?" The host shifted the conversation to the white-haired girl, who replied, "Yes, to satisfy the audience's curiosity, there will be a special performance next." The audience's excitement grew even higher, with everyone cheering and raising their hands in support. Even the overseas guests were very interested. The white-haired girl smiled in response from the stage. Soon, several mechas gradually emerged from various passageways, 2 specialized ground-type mechas on the left, and 2 sky-type mechas on the right. These mechas, 9 feet in size and nearly humanoid, were the Academy trial mechas, more commonly seen in everyday life. Nearly 3 meters in length, they were newly developed, significantly more powerful than previous Academy trial mechas and more agile, making them a powerful weapon against mecha criminal organizations and opposition groups. Next, the Academy's specialized mechas will face the mysterious girl of the Elemental Organization, the host announced. The HP values of the 4 mechas appeared on the upper left of the large screen, and the white-haired girl was on the right. Considering the opponent's powerful attacks, the conference had developed mechas that prioritized agility and speed to counter the elemental girl. The 4 mechas gradually appeared at different heights on the simulated street, awaiting the start of the second round of the showdown. Chapter 160 Elements. In the second area, next to the amusement park, the GR trio, having finished their trip to the park and were commuting to and from the streets, had set up a temporary base nearby. The sky had darkened, but the lights in the area were still bright. At 9:45 p.m., the 3 of them headed towards the street. They had also heard a commotion coming from the nearby Mecha convention. The explosions had given the 3 of them a clue as to who was behind it. The mission was ongoing, but they hadn't received any instructions for what to do, so they were on standby. The commotion not far away, that was done by the Elemental Demon King, right, Xingze said, looking in the direction of the venue not far away. "That's right, I've heard of the explosive energy just now before, but I didn't expect that they would send that dangerous person," Yufan said. "Who are you talking about?" the young man Pingman asked puzzledly. "The Queen of Elements, we've seen that person before during our mission. She is proficient in all 5 elements and can exert all her strength. She is so scary. She is probably the most capable person in the organization we are in. That person is Miss Yuanyu," Pingman said. According to his impression, she is a woman with long snow-white hair. She is very powerful and has inexhaustible energy. She has never been defeated in the organization that gathers people with special abilities. Yes, speaking of this, the top rankings in our organization are all women. Well, but from a research theory perspective, one factor that factors in the degree of mastery is emotional attachment. Women have been stronger than men since birth, and since growing up, most women have better ability to master elements. Perhaps it also includes a lot of luck, Yufan said. Then, that woman must be unprecedentedly strong, Xingze guessed. It is impossible for her to have such a powerful ability just like that, Yufan said. She knew that the power of the full moon did not only come from attachment. Since she was born, abnormal phenomena have occurred. The sky was shining at night, and then heavy rain and thunder fell. She must not be an ordinary person. She has possessed huge potential and talent since she was born. If she had not been born in such a place, she would very likely be a great achiever in the future. Someone once said so. The power of the elements, earth, water, wind, and fire, is related to human emotions. The 4 elements in light are the result of using abilities, but their use can trigger thoughts. Strong attachments are particularly dangerous, and power can easily run wild. Complete control is extremely difficult. A single, undivided mindless control, and few people in the world can achieve this. People develop emotions as the world changes, and their hearts experience varying degrees of turmoil. But she was different, like someone from a different dimension, a swan among ducks. Few at the research institute could understand her. Yufan concluded that they shouldn't try to understand her, because that's the only way to truly understand her. With someone like that around, what's her job? To prevent her from going berserk, Xingze asked. If she goes berserk, not only us, but this entire metropolis would be finished, but that's unlikely. The researchers at the research institute called the white-haired girl the mobile nuclear bomb. At the central assembly, several mechas on the city street simulation field were shot down one after another, rendered ineffective. The 4 zone-specific mechas were all knocked out in a matter of seconds. One Sky-type's wing was severed, and the blasting winds crashed it into the simulated building, rendering it unable to fight. Another Sky-type was torn apart by wind blades. Even the sturdiest ground-type couldn't withstand the unknown attack of the white-haired girl. She remained intact at the crossroads of the stage. On the big screen, the HP of the 4 mechas had all been reduced to 0, each suffering varying degrees of damage, unable to fight. The mysterious girl win from the Elemental Research Institute flashed on the screen. To the audience, the stage performance seemed like a one-sided show. The mechas hadn't caused any harm to the girl, seemingly not even posing a threat, as if the battle was not in the same dimension. The spectacular battle drew cheers and shouts from the audience, many rooting for the girl, unconcerned with the actual battle itself. Amazing, so that's the elemental superpower. A moment later, the host announced the winner and turned to the mysterious woman, asking, "Will there be a third round?" Yuan replied, "Well, let's ask your people." "I'm fine, and I'm here today to bring you a special program." The host in the white suit looked at the crowd and said, as she said, "I'll ask the organizers if they want to continue with this special program." The host's words unanimously decided to continue this special program, raising their hands and cheering. "Keep going. I want to see the elemental show." "Yes, keep going. Let's see more of the unreleased moves. Let's see a Mecha vs. human showdown." Amidst the audience's cheers, the host contacted the control center inside the tournament. At the internal control center of the conference, a row of researchers temporarily conducted multiple analyses on the mysterious white-haired girl in order to formulate the next options. At this time, the short-haired man Long Mu said to the person next to him, "How is it? Has the countermeasures against that guy been formulated?" "No, not yet. From the current point of view, the power of the mysterious woman is beyond imagination. Even the latest ground terrain can't withstand it, and the speed can't match it. From a strategic point of view, in order to have a chance of winning, we must have at least 5 special machines equipped with guns and weapons." "Weapons? Don't we have them?" "Send them out." "Wait, what if we accidentally kill the person? Won't we be in trouble?" "Then tell me a way to deal with her without hurting her." "In that case, there's only one way. Send the original spirit holder to drive the Mecha and suppress her with ability." "Wouldn't it be better to say this earlier, and call 3 elite levels together?" Long Mu said. Immediately, the conference urgently summoned 3 reserve elite level Mecha users to go to the landing point to prepare. "We'll use C-type mechas, 1 each for ground, sky, and ocean formations," the researcher said. "Roger that. The dedicated mechas are ready. Elite level enhanced mechas, type C, with maximum energy storage and no abnormalities," another person said. "Prepare for deployment. The countdown is about to begin. 3, 2, 1. Go." 3 mechas and their elite pilots, 1 for support and 2 for primordial spirit holders, set off. Type C, referring to physical size, is defined as mechas 5 to 7 meters tall. Type B's range from 8 to 11, and Type A ranges from 12 to 17. There's also the unique S-type. "This time, we must defeat her," said Long Mu on the central conference stage. The host in a white suit received the order to proceed. At the audience's cheers, he added, "Ladies and gentlemen, we've just received excellent news. Next, we'll proceed to the third round, the nature-type Mecha versus the elemental girl." The audience was delighted and cheered. Even the high-ranking officials from various countries, stationed at the stage, were paying close attention. "Now, let's welcome our third opponent. All 3 are elite-level warriors, so stay tuned," the host announced. 3 mechas appeared one after another from various locations on the simulated city streets. Their colors were red, yellow, and blue, each boasting incredibly sophisticated construction, rivaling the previous ones. The 3 mechas' names, goggled portraits, and HP values appeared on the large screen. Chapter 161 Elemental Performance. On the central stage of the conference, a simulated city street, a red, winged sky-shaped mech hovered overhead. Near a building to the left of the white-haired woman, Yuan, sat a yellow, armored ground-shaped mech. Another blue mech was nowhere to be seen. The terrain was typical, with tall, densely packed buildings, offering plenty of suitable hiding spots. The countdown slowly began. 3, 2, 1. As the mech reached 0, its lights illuminated, and a 900-second countdown began on the large screen. Everyone, you understand the battle plan, right? This is being broadcast nationwide now, and we can't lose face. First, we have to dodge the powerful attacks, and second, we have to gently escort that girl out, ensuring she doesn't suffer too much damage, said the pilot of the red sky-shaped mech. Upon hearing this, the pilot of another blue mech, hidden in the shadows, replied, "Understood. Red will guide the attack, yellow will take the action, and I'll cover the rear. Leave it to me," said a young man in his early 20s, clad in golden armor and positioned within a ground-shaped mech. Instantly, the red mech accelerated, soaring straight above the white girl standing in the middle of the simulated city street. Its speed was so rapid, like a flash of red light, it circled in the air, momentarily preventing Yuan from predicting the attack point. Several bursts of bluish-white light forced the red sky-shaped mech to dodge. The opponent, in mid-air, released a net to capture its target, but it was severed by the wind blades and drifted away. At that moment, a trembling sound echoed beneath the street where Yuan stood, as if something were approaching. Suddenly, a golden mecha emerged from the ground, breaking through the surface. The rocks crumbled, and the ground Yuan stood on collapsed. The golden mecha appeared before her. Yuan then leaped from the air, carried by the wind, and hovered in mid-air. No matter how the ground below collapsed, or whether there were tidal waves or mudslides, they would be powerless against her. Operation failed, the pilot of the ground mecha said. Then we will enter the second phase, the pilot of the sky mecha replied. Understood. Instantly, a yellow ground mecha leaped from the earth, accompanied by countless pieces of debris, which hurled themselves from the sky towards the white-haired girl. The girl remained motionless, frozen in the air. Within 3 feet of her, the debris was crushed by an invisible wind barrier, shattering it. Meanwhile, a red mecha spread its wings and approached the girl in a serpentine trajectory. The second phase involved using the red sky mecha's power to send her off the field. At this moment, the red mecha charged forward. He thrust forward with one hand, colliding with the girl. His hand collided with a wind barrier, sending her reeling backwards, a force that threatened to knock her off the simulated city stage. Undeterred, the white-haired girl retreated through the air, following the invisible barrier. With a flick of her hand, a strange core of light appeared before her, instantly exploding and separating the two. In the blast, the red sky-shaped mech's arm suffered a ripple of skin, leaving it visibly burned. It momentarily lost its balance and retreated backwards. The white-haired girl, carried by the wind, slowly descended onto a building. At that moment, a dark blue figure from behind slowly approached. Suddenly, a stream of water erupted from the ground, rippling with a faint blue energy, enveloping the girl. "Done, are we just going to send her out?" asked a young man in his early 20s. The master of the dark blue mech thought so, and turned to the girl before him, saying, "I'll take you out." Hearing this, the white-haired girl in the dark blue water dungeon replied, "No thanks, my performance isn't over yet." As she spoke, the water gradually dispersed from around her, solidifying into crystal particles around her. Instantly, those crystal particles transformed into a stream of water, rushing back. It pushed aside the nearby dark blue mech, and the mech's master said, "It's clearly my power. Why did you? Because water is also an element, really? I get it, you're a monster." Instantly, the torrent of water carried the dark blue mech flying, landing violently on a building on the other side. As it sank deeper into the water, its HP was drastically reduced. The audience was all in shock, or perhaps even bewildered. It seemed the 3 elite mech users had been overpowered, their opponent a mere girl with supernatural powers. Some speculated she might be possessed by a powerful primordial spirit. Some lamented that it was the elemental, a supernatural, incredible power. Some wondered if everything they were seeing was just a show. Meanwhile, a white-haired girl, standing atop a tall building, slowly walked to the edge, picked up a megaphone, and announced, "Everyone, I said before that New Century City would win if they could send me off the field. But I think that's not a good idea after all. How about changing the rules?" "Huh? What do you mean?" the yellow and red mecha users said in quick succession. The audience also murmured. "So, just touching me once will count as your victory. That's fine, understand? Just touching my body, just contact, even hair is fine," the white-haired girl explained. The audience erupted in laughter again, and many seemed to agree with this rule change. Meanwhile, the host, standing off stage, said, "No problem. If you think that's a defeat condition for you, proceed immediately. The white-haired girl chuckled and nodded slightly. Are you kidding me? Are you looking down on me? Don't look at me like this. I'm an elite. For this honor, I must defeat you, said the 20-something man in the yellow mech. Right. You said if I could touch you, well, I'll deliver the final blow, said the bespectacled man in his early 20s in the red sky-shaped mech. The dark blue mech on the other side remained silent. Both the red and yellow mechas leaped up and approached the white-haired girl. Suddenly, a strong wind blew around the girl, like thunder in the sky, as if a storm was brewing. Around the building where the girl stood, many of the metal and tile tiles were torn off, leaving a jumble of objects floating in the air, attacking in two directions, the yellow mech leaping below, and the red sky-shaped mech attacking from the other side. Facing the oncoming barrage of heavy objects, the golden mech took a defensive stance, attempting to block the impact. However, its defenses were no match for the immense force and speed of the falling objects. Its HP drained away like water, and its arms gradually lost control. The red sky-shaped mech on the other side suffered the same fate. Though it managed to dodge, the meteorite-like speed of the attack prevented it from reaching the white-haired girl. Without even a chance to appear in her line of sight, it was sent flying. Both mechas were rendered incapable of combat, their HP reaching 0. The other dark blue mech, knowing it had no chance of victory, voluntarily relinquished its position and quietly departed through the corridor. All that remained were the audience in disbelief. Not only the general public, but also the high-ranking international visitors nearby, all of them feeling the same way. They could only say they had witnessed something unbelievable. The national broadcast was taking place at the future Gospel Central Hall in the 2nd District of the new Century City. Because 2 machines have reached 0 HP, and 1 has forfeited, the winner is the mysterious white-haired girl from the Elemental Organization, the host announced. A giant portrait of the victorious girl appeared on the large screen above the central stage. The audience erupted in applause, expressing their excitement. The white-haired girl, illuminated by the bright lights on the building, addressed the audience. Everyone, this is the Elemental Organization. It's impressive, isn't it? Thank you very much for your support, she bowed again and added, there are already elemental organizations in many other areas of this city. This is probably a new global trend. So, that concludes today's performance. The white-haired girl, observing the crowd's enthusiasm, chuckled in response and quietly departed toward the other side of the passage. Chapter 162 Their Actions. After bidding farewell to the audience, the white-haired woman departed through the venue's special entrance. At this point, I, in the audience, decided not to continue watching the performance. I stood up and said to Lan Yu, who was standing nearby, I'm leaving now. I'll be back at the dorm tonight. Contact me if anything happens, Lan Yu replied. Really? You're not going to track that person down, are you? No, I have a lot to do. I'm leaving now. I sensed the mystery surrounding that white-haired woman, and so did Lan Yu. Nothing more outlandish could happen on the stage. What could be more unbelievable than that woman? With that, I headed for the other side of the entrance. There was little point in continuing among the crowd. On the streets of the second area, the GR trio was moving near the shopping district. The young man Pingman received the latest intelligence from the organization on his mobile phone, and said, it seems that Miss Yuan Yu's situation is over. We must be prepared next. The enemy's superiors are taking corresponding actions to our actions. Internal fighting? Indeed, it seems that the number of security personnel has increased since a while ago. Are they locking onto the target? Yu Fang said. By the way, what is our mission? Yu Zianan said. From a practical point of view, our mission is to provide support. We are always on standby unless there are special circumstances, Yu Fang said again. It's really vague, but thanks to this, we don't have to take too many risks. Let's enjoy ourselves here, because that person will most likely not fail, Yu Zianan replied. Hearing this, Yu Feng said again, don't be careless. The interior of the city is unfathomable. Even the Queen of Elements has people above her. Such people may also be near this area, that's right. It's better for us to hide next, Pingman said. Okay, there's no need to be so alert. We are not the guys doing bad things, Yu Zianan said. Upon hearing this, Yu Feng said, that's not right. We're actually doing something not very good, so we're constantly in danger. While we're not willing to do it, it's better to understand this. The three of them all came from the Elemental Research Institute, receiving special education shortly after birth. They didn't know where their parents were, perhaps they were already dead, or they were orphans. The true situation was unclear, but according to the rules here, to survive, and to survive well, one must achieve considerable success. According to the latest information, the Elemental Research Institute is gradually making the power of elemental development accessible to everyone. After many experiments, the results appear to be promising. Generally, anyone under 16 is suitable for developing special abilities. The human body is composed of the 5 elements and 4 elements, so anyone could potentially possess powers like Miss Yuanayu. That's the theory. Of course, this is just theory. The prerequisite is that it's likely difficult to find someone like Yuanayu in this world. It's just that if we were free, what would we do? Yuzayanan said. That's right. No matter what, we should find the right path as human beings, or a path that is ultimately unobstructed, Yufan replied. Yufan, do you think the organization we are in is incorrect? Yuzayanan asked again. Yes, that can't be correct. Using humans as experimental subjects, no matter how you say it's for the sake of the future, is wrong. If it is correct, the world is not far from destruction, Yufan said thoughtfully, feeling aggrieved. If you think about it that way, now is not a bad opportunity. Have you considered finding a new organization? Yuzayanan said. No, we shouldn't consider such things now. It will confuse our vision and it's very dangerous, Yufan said. The 3 of them walked on the street and would head towards their temporary residence in the second area, near the stage for the Mecha conference. A white-haired girl, Yuanayu, walked silently along a path. She checked her phone and replied, "It's all right. It was a good performance for me, please don't complain." She tucked her phone into her skirt pocket and continued walking down the path. As she was about to leave the path for the back streets, a man approached. This path was a secret shortcut from the second area to the third, a rarely used route. The man, with short dark brown hair and a white suit, stepped into the middle of the path and looked at the white-haired girl. He was Long Mu, one of the conference's administrators. Little girl, it's dangerous to walk down this path alone. The streets are filled with people from all over the world right now, and it's hard to predict what might happen. Thank you very much for your help, but I'm fine, the white-haired girl said with her usual chuckle. You're fine, but I'm not doing so well. You really caused a scene at the conference, Long Mu said with a sly smile, though it wasn't a friendly one. That's it, isn't it? You're from the New Century City, so you must be quite influential. You're roughly correct. I'm here to wash away my previous shame. Are you prepared? This performance will be different from before, Long Mu said. As he spoke, several dark figures gradually appeared around him. They were distinctive dark mechas, standing about 2 meters 78 meters tall, with 2 rows of strange black tooths protruding from their backs, 6 in total. Are you planning an attack? That's right, young lady with white hair. There aren't many people here, so being seen doesn't matter. Do you know the darkness of this city? Darkness, black, gloomy things. I know. I hate them, so you'd better be prepared to inflict them on me. I don't care. If you're captured, you'll probably be used as research material for all sorts of studies. With that, Long Mu turned and walked out of the passage. Several dark mechas, resembling little devils, appeared around the white-haired girl. A moment later, explosions echoed down the path, sending 2 mechas flying. Strange white flashes, like flashbangs, scattered across the road. After a few more blasts, the white-haired girl slowly emerged from the lingering storm and reached the other end of the path. Not far ahead, she spotted Long Mu, who had turned to look at her because he felt things were moving too fast. She said, I was used as research material before I was 8 years old. Since then, I haven't been used again, unless I volunteered. Wow, 2 of them were destroyed? I heard they were the latest models, but they're really weak, or maybe they can't really perform in this small harbor, Long Mu said. A moment later, behind the white-haired girl, 2 dark mechas flew out of the harbor, stationed at opposite ends of her. It's not that weak after all, it's the latest work, Long Mu said again. There were obvious signs of burning on the bodies of the 2 mechas, and part of their skin was destroyed by the heat and impact. However, the eyes of the 2 mechas were flashing at this moment, and their bodies were covered by a body of energy. Gradually, the damaged parts were covered up, and it looked like the wounds were healed. Oh, machines also have such special powers. That's the first time I've seen it. I haven't even seen it in that institution, the white-haired girl said. That's right. It's the first time I've seen it too. That doctor is really capable of doing it. What principle did he use this time and what did he sacrifice? Long Mew said, but no matter what, you'll know next. You are the experimental subject of this new toy, Long Mew said again. It's really rude to use me as a test subject. Let me play with you for a while, the white-haired girl Yuan Yu said. At this time, several dark mechas appeared around her one after another. They were called Black X1 type, supernatural mechas. In terms of strength, they were no less than ordinary elite-level special machines, and these mechas were specially designed for the humanoids in the corresponding area, which had great advantages against people and some criminal acts. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 Their Actions. The GR trio, walking in the second area of the New Century City, heard a distant explosion. The sound was subtle, barely perceptible to anyone close to them. At that moment, the youngest of the three, Pingman, said, "There's a battle going on about 1,500 meters to the west. That's probably Miss Yuan Yu, right? That could be a sign. Our current situation might not be good," Yu Fan said. "Really? I didn't sense anything. A fight? Miss Yuan Yu in the dark side of this city, that's probably true, Sister Nan. It looks like things are going to get busy," Yu Fan said this. It seemed like there were spies among the surrounding crowd, targeting the trio. For some reason, the worst-case scenario was that they'd been exposed. "Let's move quickly. There are too many people here. Get to a less crowded area," Pingman said. Right, the large crowds were a disadvantage for the three of them. They couldn't trust the people around them, and no one knew if they were friend or foe. This would also lead to even more trouble. North and south, near the fourth area, the intersection is less frequented by travelers, Harriman said. "Let's go there." The three of them unanimously decided not to return to their temporary base for now, but to take a detour to another location. The abbreviation for the elemental organization, currently deployed near the city's central area, includes a pair of sisters, the older sister, with blonde hair and a blue dress, and the younger sister, Fing Chu. Their whereabouts are currently unknown, and this puzzles someone else. Personnel dispatched by the organization typically work in groups of 2 to 4, though some also act alone. The person who had lost contact with the Win twins was another person, a woman who was considered their superior. She had been observing Yuan Yu's movements from a distance recently. Now that the conference was over and Yuan Yu had left, she had followed suit, but she hadn't received any news from the two. What happened? Were they captured? Considering this, the woman began to wonder about her next course of action. She had 2 E's printed on her shoulders and an L on her back. She wore a dark gold dress and had short blonde hair, with bangs in the front and back that matched the bangs. She was currently wandering around Area 2. Considering the above, she held the communicator, considering what to input. After a while, her communicator suddenly rang. The screen showed that it was a call from the organization's upper echelons. She answered the call and said, "This is EK1, what's going on, Zyoka? It seems we've run into some trouble. It's very likely that our internal intelligence has been exposed. That is, your actions, objectives, and even the appearance of some of the people involved have been confirmed." "Really, headquarters, can you now confirm the whereabouts of my 2 subordinates, Feng Ling and Feng Chui?" Unfortunately, the whereabouts of those 2 people were suddenly interrupted not long ago. They may have been attacked by someone. Their life or death is currently unknown. Please wait a moment. Headquarters should have a special character locking tool. We can use it to find their whereabouts. Hearing this, a man with long white right spinning hair, about 30 years old, who was at the Elemental Organization headquarters, responded, "The target locking device cannot lock on to the target in 3 situations. One is that the target is dead. The second is that the target has fallen into a deep unconscious state, and the third is interference similar to a barrier." The man in the white robe continued, "Please calm down, Kara Monroe. I understand your feelings. There are more important things to do right now. First, ensure your safety and keep an eye on that person." Kara Monroe replied, "Yes, no matter what happens, the truth will be revealed within this period of time. Don't worry, I have no problem. Then, if there's new information, I'll contact you first." The man gazed at the blonde girl on the large screen and ended the call. In a wooded garden near the third area, the white-haired girl Yuan was battling dark mecha soldiers led by Long Mu. These imp-like monsters moved with incredible speed and power, easily breaking trees with a single blow. However, they were annihilated by successive blasts. Despite their speed, power, defense, regeneration, and immense energy capacity, from a scientific perspective, the white-haired girl's energy couldn't compare. Even against such a formidable foe, her control was like the overwhelming difference between a child and an adult. If those mechas could reach the same level as that girl, it would probably take another 10 years if the doctor were to continue developing at the current rate. Long Mu thought so. Then, gazing at the white-haired girl in the blast not far away, he said, "How impressive. If we could push the technology to its limits, I'd probably have a chance of defeating you. Perhaps even if that idiot's machine reached its peak, it wouldn't be on par with that girl's. The limit of that idiot's research might be a flawed product, not perfect. It couldn't possibly compare to a single, unique human being. Whoever created such a formidable creature must be no less capable than the researchers here. Thank you for the compliment, but it's better for me to leave. I don't mean to cause trouble here. Could you please not hinder me?" That's true. But do you know what my mission is? I understand. I don't want to accept defeat, really? Stubborn people often end up in a sad state. With Yuan Yu's words, the last dark metro was dispatched. Fireworks swirled around them. "I'll personally take care of you next. Get ready," the man said, beginning to walk towards them. "What can you do?" As Yuan Yu spoke, Long Mu appeared before her. He looked at her and said, "Just try and see. Embrace my power, I'm going to kill you." With a wicked smirk, his attitude seemed arrogant. "All right then," Yuan Yu said. She extended a hand and snapped her fingers. A strange white core appeared to the right of the man in his early 30s. It shone brilliantly and instantly blossomed like a flower. Instantly, Long Mu vanished from her sight. Suddenly, a white light erupted from Yuan Yu's sight. With a resounding roar, the radiance enveloped the girl, engulfing her. The storm wave spread from there. As the smoke gradually dissipated, Yuan Yu could gradually see the man's face not far away. Something strange had just happened. During the explosion, the attack had been directed at her. Yuan Yu understood that the energy had been generated by her. "What's going on?" Yuan Yu asked as the storm dissipated with a wind. Seeing the white-haired girl now, her face caked with dust, Long Mu couldn't help but wonder, "Are you not seriously injured? It's true that the power just now wasn't enough. Looking at your disheveled state. Do you realize your mistake? Is it a special ability?" "I've heard there are many people with special abilities in this city," Yuan Yu said. Upon closer inspection, Yuan Yu felt that her position and that of the man in his early 30s seemed to have shifted. In other words, it felt as if she and the man had swapped places in that instant. "That's right, there's always someone above you. My power isn't as strong as yours, but one-on-one combat is our specialty here," Long Mu said. "Is it something like special reversal? Have you guessed it? Even if you did, what good would it do against someone like you who specializes in long-range attacks, uncle? It seems I can deal with you a little more seriously," Yuan Yu said, her face looking disdainful, not even remotely confident. Yuan Yu was determined to return the words he had just spoken to her to the very end. Chapter 164 Their Actions. The border between the third and second areas lies in a forest, close to the city and its streets. Although a sparsely populated area, it occasionally sees people, especially during this particularly busy time. Passers-by, observing the scene from a distance, could see an unusual plume of smoke rising from the depths of the woods. Several explosions and the sound of gunfire were heard, making them afraid to approach. Some resorted to calling the police. However, the man standing before the white-haired girl was a true police officer, albeit one who was more than just a police officer, handling the dirty work. At that moment, the man, Long Mu, looked at the girl. His figure vanished from her sight, and in a split second, he was at her side, swinging a punch. The white-haired girl remained motionless, his fist blocked by an invisible barrier 3 feet in front of her. The man's iron fist struck the barrier, a resounding sound as his fist was worn away. He then pulled his fist back and said, "What is this? Is this what you use to block bullets? Really nice, not bad, I got you taken care of while I was there." The white-haired girl waved her hand lightly, and a blade of wind slashed through like a knife, forcing Long Mu to move to another location. Behind the white-haired girl, he took off his white coat and threw it at her. Within 3 feet of the target, the coat was torn to shreds like a grinder. "Let me see your weakness." Long Mew disappeared again, reappearing before the girl's eyes. He struck with a punch, his fist radiating with special abilities, the impact so powerful that it shook the air, but the girl remained motionless. "Let me tell you, you can't defeat me," Yuan Yu said. "I've seen many people like you, those who are absolutely confident in their abilities," Long Mew said, and in an instant, his figure vanished from Yuan Yu's sight, appearing on the shoulder of a dark mecha. So what? Being ignorant of one's own limitations isn't the same as being truly powerful. You're bound to encounter more of the former, Yuan Yu said. Hearing this, Long Mew chuckled. He was now approaching the mech, hunched over, half leaning on its shoulder. With a wave of his hand, the mech's muzzle emerged from his palm and began to fire continuously. The bullets continued to pierce the target, but were each neutralized by the barrier. "White-haired woman, do you think you're powerful now? Do you want me to tell you what it feels like to fail? Please tell me." Instantly, Long Mew commanded the surrounding dark-colored humanoid mechas to prepare. He now followed the mechas in a line, circling the white-haired woman. The fire continued, but the opponent had no blind spots. The mech drifted along the ground like black lightning, approaching the girl's back, slightly to the right. At that moment, a wind blade struck with lightning speed, severing the mech's right leg. The mech, still functioning, instantly lost its balance due to the loss of its leg and toppled over, scraping against the ground with a loud noise. Long Mew, barely clinging to the mech's body, chuckled softly. In an instant, he vanished. In the blink of an eye, the white-haired girl appeared on top of the mech. Gunfire, artillery shells, nets, and small missiles descended from all directions. Even Yuan Yu herself sensed the danger. Instantly, countless firepower converged on the mech, a calculated attack. The dangerous object and its target collided, threatening to explode. Explosions echoed, and even the nets were broken, and the mech's body exploded in the blast. For a moment, the target area erupted like a volcano, with fireworks and flames filling the air. Long Mew stood by a nearby tree, observing with indifference. The center of the fire was soon swept away by a strong wind, and the smoke dissipated, revealing the white-haired girl floating in mid-air. Her hair and eyes were a strange color, radiating light. This was a vast and mysterious energy, and Long Mew, standing not far away, could feel it firsthand. Indeed, as she had said, the woman before him was somewhat different from those he had encountered before. She seemed far too powerful. "Are you not injured? I had hoped you were a little hurt." "How strange, it seems even defeating you won't change anything. So please reflect on your shock," Yuan Yu said, flying at high speed towards the third area. Seeing the woman about to escape, Long Mew entered a mecha and began chasing her. Ping Men, Yu Fan, and Yu Xiaonan were traveling along a hidden path near the third area. Although this area was in the center of the new Century City, it was close to the edge and one of the few slums. To avoid possible surveillance, the three had circled around to reach this area. The road here was narrow, blocked on both sides by 7 or 8-story buildings. The darkness made it difficult for the pursuers to find their target. "What a great place. We're used to dark places," Yu Xiaonan said casually. "I don't like this," Yu Fan said. The three of them, including Pingman, spent most of their time in such dim and run-down places. They were well aware of this, but only laughed at themselves. "Yu Xiaonan, Yu Fan, we should find a place to stay," Pingman said. "You're right. This won't work. This area doesn't look welcoming," Yu Xiaonan said. A place to stay wasn't necessarily a place where they could avoid danger. Just wandering around was fine, but judging by the current situation, things weren't looking good for them in every way. As they moved forward, a dark figure moved from behind the three of them, moving directly in front of them. Then, it emerged from the ground and said, "Gr, you look like you're in trouble." The speaker was a young man with dark purple hair and a uniform resembling a schoolboy's. It was Wei Ying, known to all three of them and one of the members assigned to this mission. "How dare you show up in front of us? It's all your fault," Yu Fan said. Her words were devoid of emotion, but it was clear she didn't have a favorable impression of the man before her. "Don't say that, big sister. I'm just trying to help you make some favorable choices. Aren't you looking for a safe route right now? That's my specialty. As a member, I'll offer you a safe route," Wei Ying said. "Really? Do you know of such a place?" "Of course. My abilities are designed for that. Don't worry, okay, we believe you, but if it's a lie, be prepared, Yifan said. Though her expression was simple, the feeling behind her words made Wei Ying feel a little hesitant. Alright, I verified the intelligence from the surrounding surveillance cameras. If you want to escape unscathed, the route you're currently taking is surprisingly sound, Wei Ying said. He continued, next, we'll have to pass through several buildings and move from the inside. First, stay out of the surveillance cameras. You should be able to handle the cameras, right? Have you figured out a safe route? Roughly so. Of course, I can't guarantee it, but it's at least better than just going with your gut, Wei Ying said. Well, I'll leave it to you this time. Like Yifan said, if they try any tricks, be prepared. Yuan placed a hand on Wei Ying's shoulder and said, although not as intimidating as that woman, she's no pushover. The three of them followed Wei Ying's instructions and began moving toward another route. Chapter 165 Their Actions. In the third area, a white-haired girl was being chased by several distinctive, dark-colored mechas. These mechas were small, versatile, and capable of anything from the ground to the sky. They emerged from the woods and headed straight for the back streets of the third area. The white figure, darting past, and the several black figures in pursuit caught the attention of the citizens, some of whom pulled out cameras or cell phones to take photos. Meanwhile, the security team arrived, monitoring the surrounding situation and proactively evacuating the crowd to prevent any harm. The white-haired girl turned a corner, and the mechas that followed were unable to confirm her whereabouts. Long Mu, who was inside one of the mechas, frowned and activated the communication system to report to another location. Control center over there, please help me see where the girl ran to, Long Mu said to the small screen in front of him. One of the executive officers in the internal control center of the area that received the call responded, Mr. Long Mu, we have searched all the cameras in the area, and we have not found the target white-haired female yet. How could it be? Where did she disappear from? Did she hide in a certain building? Long Mu said again. At this time, the executive officer seemed uncertain and said, the speed just now was too fast, and a camera was destroyed. We can't confirm it here, is that so? Really? Long Mu sighed. At this time, the small screen in his cabin showed the portrait of Dr. Zufeng. He said, Long Mu, you are so incompetent. You destroyed my new toy without authorization. It is very expensive, but the result is like this, it ran away, is it you? If you want to blame your toy for being too weak. It can't be compared with others. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to work so hard, it's still in the experimental stage. If used properly, there should be no problem, right? Enough, I don't have time to talk to you about this. Long Mu cut off the communication. I was walking around the third area. I recently joined the environmental protection team, and after discussing this with Qin Lang, things developed like this. Incidentally, this environmental protection non-profit organization was founded by the Green Alliance, experts in this field. They protect order in the area and look after the surrounding mountainous areas. They have taken over many areas, primarily focusing on maintaining and improving the environment. They're a major organization, known as one of the three great alliances, and their strength is unquestionable. I'm currently patrolling alone around the third area. There are many ways to dispose of garbage, but the newest and most convenient method involves using natural mechas. These mechas not only consume no energy, but also have special cleaning devices that can both purify the land and recycle garbage. I, a roughly 7-foot-tall environmental warrior, possess the ability to do just that. I was supposed to finish work after 9:30 p.m., but while I was walking around the third area, I suddenly heard a strange explosion and an unusual energy reaction. It happened to be nearby, so I headed in that direction. Up ahead, I could vaguely see a number of armed guards lingering nearby. I could imagine something was going on. More than anything else, I was focused on a figure not far away. It walked calmly in the middle of the street, unnoticed by most people, concealed from view. But I knew it was the mysterious girl who had appeared at the stage tonight, not long ago. She had long, snow-white hair and was dressed in a grayish-white outfit. She was now casually strolling through the crowd, not far from me. If she continued walking, we would cross paths. I had no reason to comment. Whatever her reason for concealing herself, it had nothing to do with me for now. It didn't matter if she approached, but it was likely something we both noticed. She might have been the reason the guards were deployed, but it wasn't a significant factor in my situation. It was better to let her pass without causing a commotion, as I didn't want to cause a scene. Just as I was about to pass her, a young man wearing a white headscarf and turquoise overalls said to me, "Hey, there looks to be something going on up ahead. Let's change our route and continue our mission." I looked at him and said, "You're right. Something seems to be going wrong up ahead. The road's too congested. We'd be inconvenienced if we went over there. I'll head to Sector 3 next." "You can continue here," the environmentalist said. I nodded in agreement and turned to return the way I came. Just then, the white-haired girl passed me and turned in the other direction. The pale yellow environmentalist and I planned to continue our volunteer work further up the road located in the third area, in a narrow alleyway between shopping streets. It's rarely used, and there are no security cameras. This is simply the backstage area for the staff. Yuanyu had now removed her elemental shield, a simple form of invisibility, similar to camouflage, concealing her from ordinary eyes. Although she had just noticed she'd been spotted, it wasn't as if they were looking for trouble, so Yuanyu had no further contact with that person. People like them, or creatures, could be encountered by chance elsewhere, so it wasn't unusual. For the time being, she had gotten rid of the sinister man in his early 30s. Yuanyu wasn't sure what her next move would be. She had been tasked with showcasing the existence of the elements at the Mecha conference, so that more people would recognize them. However, she herself didn't quite understand the significance of this. First, not everyone could become like her. Furthermore, even if she accepted the special abilities developed by the elemental organization, what would they really achieve? Even if she gained some abilities, navigating this world would still be difficult. Having witnessed so many others like her, she didn't want more people to possess such abilities. Perhaps it was just her own opinion, but there was nothing she could do. She had already done it, and she didn't have time to dwell on it. If more people joined the elements, forming a new faction, that would be a good thing for those who had been at the Institute since birth. Ultimately, there's no clear path, and the world has become even more fragmented and chaotic. There's nothing we can do about it. Most people enjoy these kinds of fantasies, and even if they achieve them, they pursue more. This is the ultimate folly of these people. Yuanyu understood that she was a person living in such a world. She was always seeking different things, but she could never find them. Even so, she had her own ways of surviving, such as what she was doing right now. After the performance at the tournament, she'd be attacked by the enemy, which was within her expectations. The problem was that besides herself, there were several other members, and there was no news from them for a while. The scheduled stay here was 3 days. The people above didn't impose too strict requirements on Yuanyu, simply asking her to explore the city. That's it, so let's explore it for a bit. With this in mind, she prepared to cross the narrow path to the other exit. It was already 9:25 p.m. As she made her way along the path toward the exit ahead, a figure slowly appeared before her, a man in his early 30s with short hair and an armored arm in one hand. "We meet again, little girl," Long Mu said. "So fast. How did you find me?" "It was my scent. I need to deal with you." "I still remember that, especially for someone as strange as you." "Really? You're not a dog, purposely coming here to ruin other people's fun. Want to go somewhere fun? I'll take you to the most interesting places later, but before that, I have to make sure you're still alive." Long Mu smiled. "Uncle, what's your purpose in chasing me?" Yuanyu asked. "It's a mission. The most direct reason is that I don't want to fail, especially at the hands of a green brat like you." "Is that so? How boring. Treating others like brats is just your arrogance." "What are you saying? Are you saying you're not a brat? Are you mature? Have you experienced more darkness than me?" Hearing this, Yuanyu shook her head slightly, speechless. Then, her figure glowed faintly, and a white nucleus emerged from the air, exploding between the two of them. Light splashed everywhere, and a storm wave rippled out from between them. This is the center of the city. Chapter 166 On the street. A strange white light shone within the path, engulfing the two people separated by it. A thunderclap erupted, and a catastrophic storm erupted. A chasm, large enough to hold 3 people, had been blasted into the side of the path. "Is that the battle bell?" Long Mu said unmoved. "Yes, if you want to escape, now is the time. You won't have such a chance later." Hearing this, Long Mu added, "That's impossible." At this moment, several dark mechas arrived and surrounded the white-haired girl. Some, with their black wings spread, hovered overhead, some behind her, and some beside Long Mu. Then, disappear. Instantly, the white-haired girl's eyes glowed red and multicolored, changing color along with her hair. Dazzling round cores of various colors, from cyan to dark blue to pure white, gradually appeared around the path. They exploded one after another, emitting a burst of multicolored flames with immense power. Lines of rainbow light emanated from the circular cores, forming fiery circles that transformed into catastrophic storms. Throughout the alley, the surrounding walls were shattered by the successive destructive blows. The several dark, identical mechas were also shattered by the continuous and well-aimed blasts, some shattered, others partially destroyed, and all manner of wreckage. Under the relentless assault, Long Mu had no time to express his feelings. He repeatedly teleported, dodging the impact of the storm waves. Circular and semicircular pits appeared on the barriers on both sides of the alley and on the ground. Yuan Yu didn't stop his attack until the man escaped, but instead moved out of the alley, locking onto the man. He destroyed the barriers and parts of the shop. After multiple attacks, he hit the fleeing Long Mu, sending him flying a distance and falling to the ground. He then stopped his attacks. Amidst the smoke, the people around him screamed in fear, some fleeing in all directions. The man lay sprawled on the ground, moving his limbs slightly, seemingly free of fatal injuries. Yuan Yu slowly approached him. A dark blue figure suddenly restrained Yuan Yu with its hands. Its form shone faintly, almost humanoid. It covered Yuan Yu's hands and neck from behind, restricting her movements. "You're being careless, white-haired woman." The smoke gradually cleared, revealing Long Mu standing on the other side of the man lying prone on the ground. The person struck by the storm wave was a mission member similar in build to Long Mu. "That's my stand." "So, you're not going to fight back? Did that person just expend too much energy in one go? Is that what's going on?" Long Mu said, slowly approaching. Everything before him was still part of Long Mu's plan. Even the strongest will eventually run out of energy. Everyone does, they're not gods. Hearing this, Yuan Yu simply stared at the events before her in silence. "Capture him alive. Don't resist, or I'll cripple one or two of your limbs," Long Mu said. Around him, several fully armed execution members began to close in, some holding shields, others armed with various tools, ready to capture him. "Is this the primordial spirit? I've never seen one before." "Is it yours?" "No, I don't have that kind of power. It's one of my subordinates," Long Mu said. Not far away, a young man in ordinary civilian clothes was controlling the primordial spirit. "Run away quickly," Yuan Yu said. Her body once again shone with a multicolored light, its energy conveying a more ferocious power to those around her than before. "I've always been hailed as a genius in the organization. I possess great talent, but I understand the foundations of that talent. So I don't want to use it recklessly. As you might have guessed, my power is limited, therefore, he didn't want to use it recklessly. Even though that limit was unmatched in the world, it would certainly cause enormous trouble. According to calculations, to defeat the man before him, a 25-meter radius blast would be enough to finish him off. It was simple, but she couldn't imagine what would happen. After all, the people in the organization called themselves mobile nuclear bombs. She felt bored at the thought, but there was nothing she could do. "Run away? Don't be ridiculous, you idiot," Long Mu said, looking at the white-haired girl and laughing. Yuan Yu laughed along with him. However, the young man with the original spirit and several members of the executive team who had attempted to approach Yuan Yu had already begun fleeing, instinctively sensing the danger. Only Long Mu remained remarkably calm. The people around him fled in panic amid the continuous explosions, but one person approached and shouted, "Stop!" Hearing a voice from behind, Long Mu turned and saw me standing before him. "Huh?" I walked past Long Mu and said, "Don't continue." Hearing this, Yuan Yu immediately understood that the man before her was speaking to her, and that the words "stop" were all part of the same conversation. "But, these guys, the real danger is your power. You can control it, right? We saw it at the conference, so you should be able to stop." "Stop?" I stepped forward and asked the white-haired girl before me to stop unleashing her might. "Wait," Yuan Yu had regained some clarity, but she still felt confused. "Is your trouble being chased by the person in front of you? If so, I can help you solve it," I said. At that moment, Long Mu, having heard what I said, came over and said, "You little brat who just appeared out of nowhere, what are you talking about? Go to hell." Long Mu swung his iron right fist at me. I felt his movement and instantly turned sideways, grabbed his hand, and swung it halfway. After being thrown, Long Mu disappeared in the air. He came behind me, drew his pistol, and fired several shots. The power of the gun was so great that it was unlike any other pistol, causing me to stumble forward 2 steps. Really? Wasting my time, Long Mu said, retracting the gun. What are you talking about? Shooting people with a gun? That's a waste of time, I replied. No, cleaning up the trash always takes a little extra time, Long Mu said. We're all fine, and so is Long Mu. He's seen many people, and many have survived bullets. Now he just cracked his knuckles and approached me again. In a flash, he appeared to my right, striking with an iron fist gleaming with energy. It seemed to be a unique weapon, one that focused its energy to strike, a common sight in the Academy's mecha duels. Instantly, a green light emanated from my body, spreading out to form a barrier, stopping Long Mu's fist before my eyes. His force gradually cracked the armor, but my azure light remained. He attempted to break through my defense, but the armor shattered in an instant. In an instant, I focused the light into a single point, transforming it into a powerful impact and striking him head-on. Like a heavy blow, Long Mu was sent flying several meters away, collapsing into a nearby pit. The intense impact momentarily rendered him unable to fight, and he fainted. Chapter 167 Night here. At 9:30 p.m., I was walking on a street in the 3rd area. It was a devastated place, with the remains of numerous mechas and the uneven, patchy ground, ravaged by a special attack. Elsewhere, Long Mu, seemingly one of the culprits, had collapsed. Before me, the white-haired girl seemed to have calmed down, no longer unleashing her might. I looked at her and said, "Are you calm? Someone with such immense power like you must be cautious, or else you'll cause serious trouble." The white-haired girl, Yuan Yu, saw the extraordinary strength of the person before her and that he had saved her life, and she took a liking to him. "Thank you, thanks to you, I'm saved," she said, standing straight and bowing lightly. Causing such a commotion on the streets seems quite significant. Is it because of what happened at the venue? I asked, as this mysterious girl had recently put on a show at the venue. Yes, I'm sorry to trouble you. I've been trying my best to avoid them, Yuan Yu said. Hearing this, I understood that she was somehow connected to the organization called Elements. Recently, Element has been gradually making its presence felt in a few areas of the world. I understood a little, but didn't intend to press the issue. You're still wanted, right? You should get out of here before the pursuers arrive. Are you hiding somewhere? Or are you living nearby? No, you're right. I should leave, Yuan Yu said. Alarms could be heard nearby. Many Mecha soldiers were heading in, some already carrying sprinklers, intending to extinguish the fireworks. Seeing this, Yuan Yu realized she couldn't stay here for long. Without time to discuss further with the person before her, she left. In the 4th area, the GR trio of Pingman, Yaofan, and Yu Xiaonan had recently begun to advance along a new path, following a suggestion from a fellow organization member, Wei Ying. Following that young man's instructions, the trio were following a subtle route through the 4th area, requiring them to pass through a small harbor and then through buildings, ultimately securing a route clear of cameras. After much effort, they followed a side path to the 4th area's border, beneath a building. Everyone, why did we work so hard to come here? Yu Xiaonan asked. Isn't it because we want to find a safe place? Yu Feng said. Yes, I think we just need to change our appearance a little and walk in with dignity, Yu Xiaonan said again. That won't work. You look so conspicuous, with blue hair, those eyes, and that delicate figure. Let's not talk about these for now. Let's not underestimate the technology of this city. If there are photos, it may be surprisingly easy to distinguish the appearance synchronization of a target. The latter part is okay. Speaking of conspicuous, you are conspicuous, aren't you, with such a face, Yu Xiaonan retorted. You too, be quiet. We don't know what kind of situation we are in now, the young man Pingman said. Hearing this, the two were speechless. As Pingman said, where they have arrived at this moment, they don't know yet. It's just that another person in the organization said that this is a safe place. However, within their organization, apart from within their own team, there was often competition between teams. As for trust, they couldn't trust Wei Ying's words without reason, even though they were currently on the same mission. Guards were still frequently patrolling the streets, and seeing them, They didn't dare linger for long. So, they headed towards the building. According to Wei Ying, the building was a safe place to live, suitable for the three of them as a temporary base. Forget it, let's go, Yu Fan said. The three of them entered the building, passed through the automatic glass doors, and headed towards the counter. According to previous instructions, room 1106 was reserved. Yu Xiangnan simply agreed with the waiter and was granted entry. It was indeed a bit surprising, requiring no formalities. The three of them then headed towards the elevator. Entering, Yu Xiangnan remarked, "We're lucky to find a nice place to rest at this hour. If not, I wouldn't know where to go." She stretched her arms, feeling the exhaustion of the day, even though she hadn't done much. The elevator ascended to the 11th floor before they knew it. It opened, and the three of them stepped out, heading toward a nearby hallway. They were in a fairly large building, and room 1106 was supposed to be near the end. They walked along the hallway. "Where's room 1106, room 1106, room 1106, Yu Xiangnan hummed softly as she moved forward. At this, Yu Fan softly warned, "Be careful." Yu Xiangnan smiled faintly, and the three of them reached the end of the hallway, where a door marked 1106 stood. "Is this it?" Yu Xiangnan said, unlocking it with her key. Inside was a luxurious room, exceptionally spacious and beautifully decorated with vases, paintings, and other items. "It's a really big room. It looks like it'll be fine for a night," Yu Xiangnan said. "You're right. I don't know who prepared it for us, but it looks good. The clock shows 10:30. It's almost time for us to retire," Yu Fan said. Next to the three of them was a large clock, from which they could confirm the time. On the other side, there were large glass doors on all four sides, offering a view of the city's nightscape. Pingmin was silently observing the city. Yu Xiangnan approached and said, "The scenery here is really nice. It's different from what we saw on the Ferris wheel." "Really? But with such a large space, there's a risk of being discovered." "Let's draw the curtains first," Yu Fan said, pulling one curtain across to cover the glass door behind it. Pingmin then pulled the other curtain across as well. "You're right," Pingmin replied as he pulled. Yu Xiangnan was speechless. "Next, let's check the rooms and beds," Yu Fan said. Yu Fan, who had short red hair and shoulder length, walked towards the room at the corner and checked the toilet, bathroom, 2 bedrooms, and kitchen. All the rooms seemed to be in good condition. "It's really strange. There are 2 bedrooms, but why is there only 1 bed?" Yu Fan asked puzzledly. "What's so strange about it? Isn't it just 1 bed?" Yu Xiangnan asked back. "No, could it be that one of the rooms is another room that we mistook for a bedroom?" "Wait, I don't think so. Isn't it just a place like a warehouse?" Yu Xiangnan expressed his opinion. "I see, the question should go back to the fact that there is only 1 bed. Pingmin is already an adult. Should he sleep between us?" Yu Xiangnan asked. Hearing this, Pingmin said, "No need. I'm already an adult. I should sleep alone on the sofa." "That's amazing. There used to be a little kid who was afraid of the dark, but he's gone now," Yu Fan said. Hearing this, Pingmin smiled bitterly and walked towards the sofa. On the way, Yu Xiangnan caught up with him, held his arm and said, "It's dangerous at night. Let's come to a room." "That's not so good. There's nothing wrong with it. Just sleep on the floor," Yu Fan suggested. Then Pingmin had to accept it. Chapter 168 Late Night. The third area, a special dormitory located next to the Mecha conference stage, was where I headed after my evening mission. My 2 younger sisters, who had come with me, were staying in the dormitory on the other side. Since it was already getting late, I decided to rest up when I returned to my single room. Today was the first day of the conference, and much had happened, including within my own area. I could sense something was quietly happening. It was probably about the new Century City's upper echelons and the elemental organization. What were they trying to do? It was clear that there seemed to be a rivalry between the 2 factions. Although both were operating in the name of science, they were in stark opposition. While this was a common occurrence, it hit me very close to home. I had already signed up to be an environmentalist, so for someone like me, it was best to keep a low profile on both sides. Soon after, I turned off the lights and went to bed. The night dragged on, and I slept for a while. At 1:30 a.m., I heard movement in the corridor outside my room. Someone approached my door and opened it. The person quietly entered and immediately spotted me lying on the bed nearby. Confirming it was the person she was looking for, she slowly walked over to him, observing him silently until she realized he was resting. Then she sat down on the sofa nearby. A moment later, I woke up and sensed someone else in the room. Looking over, I saw a woman sitting on the sofa nearby. Her long, snow-white hair cast a subtle, faint glow in the darkness. I'd seen her before. "Are you awake?" she asked, seeing me open my eyes. "Yes, how did you get in?" I asked. "I haven't given you the gift you gave me back for saving me a while ago, and I left without even knowing your name, so I came to see you again and walked in through the door," the white-haired girl said. "Really? I'm glad you didn't cause any trouble." "My name is Xingze," I replied. "Thank you very much." "I'm Yuanayu," the white-haired girl said, standing up and politely saluting me. By then, I had risen from the bed and was sitting beside it. "Yuanayu, you are still being chased, right?" I asked. "As you said, being entangled by someone, that's right, but this is also part of the mission," Yuanayu said again. "You are from the Element Organization. Does the mission you mentioned have anything to do with the upper echelons of this city?" Hearing this, Yuanayu nodded and said, "Yes, the origin organization of Mecha and the Element Organization seem to be in opposition. I personally can't care so much. There may be personal emotional issues between the two sides. I was commissioned about this mission. It's not that I have to go, but I just think this is the most advanced place. Maybe I will find something here. That's it, I have no reason to refuse, so I came." "Is your mission to do some projects on that stage?" I asked again. "I am probably the main executive member. As I said just now, the two sides are in opposition. Although it has not yet reached the point of war, both sides are unwilling to give in. I stay here, just like a representative of one side, occupying a little bit of enemy territory, the emerging power and the powerful power. If the two sides are at odds, there will be no benefit for both sides," I said. The Elemental Agency, a major organization that has rapidly emerged in recent years, can be considered another type of supernatural research and development organization after the primordial spirit. It's already yielding results, with numerous examples of successful supernatural power development. Numerous youth development academies have been established, including in other cities, and their popularity appears to be growing rapidly. "That's right. What are your thoughts on this?" Yuanayu asked. Hearing this, I understood she seemed to be asking about the events she'd mentioned, the events she'd undertaken, involving the two major organizations. I don't know anything about the conflict between the two parties, and I can't really express my feelings. But since you're interested, it's best not to continue. It's dangerous, isn't it? It's not fun, really? If you put it that way, I do think so, Yuanayu replied. She meant what she said. Judging from that massive organization, this mission didn't seem like something that could be made public. The fact that she could tell me meant something, and I wasn't going to brush it off lightly. By doing this, I can offer some assistance, is that so? Yuanayu said softly, thoughtfully. She had come here, gone through so much trouble to find the person before her, for reasons beyond simply learning his name and thanking him. Yuanayu believed this. From the moment she laid eyes on him, she sensed that this person was extraordinary. It was because they shared something in common, but more than that, she readily accepted their words out of trust. Otherwise, she wouldn't have said something she shouldn't have said. But perhaps, this person was at a higher level than her own, or at least possessed a unique charm that captivated her. After a moment's silence, Yuanayu continued, "Well, I suddenly want to ask about something else. What does marriage mean?" Out of confusion and deep trust in the person before her, she asked, "Marriage? Isn't that a fateful union between a man and a woman? I personally believe that morality is more important, morality, isn't it? Love, well, I think most of that is fake. Morality still takes precedence," I said. "You're right. More important than all that is morality," Yuanayu said. Hearing this, I didn't deny it. Yuanayu said, "Thank you for this. Perhaps we'll meet again. See you then." She bowed once more and quietly departed toward the nearby door. Although this is a student dormitory, the girl's ease in getting in shouldn't be a problem. She possesses mysterious powers. After that, I planned to rest for a while. Late at night, a girl dressed in dark gold and with short, shiny golden hair walked the streets. The sky was filled with thunder, dark clouds gathered, and a drizzle of rain fell. Many shops on this bustling street were still lit, as many had stayed up all night for the recent conference. However, as the rain fell, many people fled in haste. But this girl, Fifita Caramello, continued to walk, moving through the center of the street, oblivious to the people around her and the raindrops. Her immediate priority was clear: to find the other two people she had been working with. They had recently disappeared due to an incident. She didn't have time to wait for further contact from headquarters, so she decided to search for them herself. While this partially violated mission guidelines, she didn't care. After walking for a while, the streets gradually became empty, and everyone had dispersed. A gentle breeze blew, bringing a chill to the cold autumn air. Suddenly, Kara Munro's phone rang. She picked it up, and a voice came from inside. "Zyoka, I know you're working hard. I just found, albeit briefly, the two men's tracks. They're near a certain building on the western border of the third area. If you want to find them, go there," Kara Munro said. "Okay, thank you for your help." After the call ended and receiving the intelligence, Kara Munro looked towards the western border of the third area and decided to head in that direction. Chapter 169: Abnormalities in the building. Early morning approached, and nearing dawn, on the western edge of the third area, within a privately owned building housing both offices and accommodations, all work was suspended during the Mecha conference. On the 11th floor, in a room at the end of a long corridor, Pingman, Yufan, and Yuzayanan were temporarily staying. It was early morning, before the sun had even risen. As the three men slept, something quietly unfolded within the building. A black aura slowly permeated every corner of the building. It gradually entered through the crack in their door, spreading along the floor. The three men, dormant in their dormitories, remained silent. A faint movement, like something moving, caught Pingman's attention from his reclining position. He woke, listening silently to the faint sounds. It sounded like a mouse scurrying, but he couldn't confirm what it was. After a while, a black aura seeped in through the sign door. Pingman saw the black mist and didn't know what it was, but he had a strange feeling. He couldn't help but climb up from the bed and backed away, observing the black aura. The aura was like a snake, approaching. Black snakes could be associated with a certain person's ability, but this aura was different. Pingman saw that something was wrong and called out to the two women lying in bed, Yufan and Yuzayanan. They were sleeping, and both looked terrible. Yuzayanan was hugging her pillow, and she seemed to be drooling. Pingman, tugging at the blanket covering them, shouted, wake up, something's coming." Yufan slowly opened his eyes, still a little dazed. "What's wrong, Yufan? I feel a little off." "Look over there," Pingman said, pointing to the side of the door. Yufan didn't quite understand what he was saying. She glanced at the darkness at the door and said, "Pingman, do you want to go to the bathroom? You're already old. Are you still afraid of the dark? What are you talking about?" "Yufan, look over there." Pingman pointed at the black aura again, gazing towards the door. The black aura near the door gradually spread, transforming into a black beast with 4 legs, dark red eyes, and sharp fangs, like a small wild boar. "What is that, a wild boar?" Yufan asked. She wasn't fully awake after being woken up late at night, so she didn't think anything was wrong. At this moment, the black beast roared at the young man before it, its intention seemingly unkind. It suddenly charged, its momentum exceedingly fierce, towards Pingman and the bed beside him. Instantly, Pingman braced his hands, his body radiating a faint glow, forming a barrier against which the black beast slammed, creating a powerful impact. Furthermore, the black beast, incarnated in the mist, continued to charge, leaving Pingman unable to withstand the relentless onslaught, and he was thrown backward along with the bed. Pingman rolled over on his bed, sending both men, along with the covers, crashing to the ground. Yufan, knocked to the ground by the impact, regained consciousness and said, "Are they enemies? Those black monsters, no matter how you look at it, they don't seem to have good intentions towards us," Pingman said. "I never expected to encounter problems in a place like this." "It's really speechless," Yuzayanan, who had also woken up from the impact, said. "Perhaps staying here temporarily wasn't the right decision," said Yufan, still in her pajamas. She was about to put on her coat. But the ferocious momentum of the black beasts, their fierce gaze fixed on the area, prevented her from doing anything else. At this moment, the black beasts pursued them again, knocking over the large bed and sending it flying towards the three of them. Red sparks appeared in front of the bed, bursting forth with a powerful impact, splitting it in two and sending the black boar behind it flying a distance. Yufan's eyes were visible, turning slightly crimson. This was what she had done. "Wait a minute, Yufan," It's not good to cause a commotion like this, Xingze said. The sound just now was like an explosion, undoubtedly attracting the attention of those nearby. Sorry, but I'm going to see the King of Hell before that, which isn't good. Now that things have come to this, we have no choice but to leave, Xingze added. We don't know who the enemy is, but we should deal with it as soon as possible, Yufan said, watching the small black monsters chasing after him, each of them repositioning themselves after the impact. Each of them created red sparks in the air, detonating them and producing super high temperature explosions. With a series of resounding sounds, the black monsters, buffeted by the blast of flames, shattered into black mist. Let's go. Judging by the current situation, this night is still long, Yufan said. She put on her coat, and Xingze planned to do the same. Pingmin went out first. He could see the same black aura not only inside the room, but also outside. He thought that perhaps coming to this place was a trap. A moment later, the three of them were ready to go. They arrived at the building's corridor. The ground around them was shrouded in a dark aura, as if in the clouds. They walked through the corridor to the edge of the central hall. Through the transparent windows on the side, they could see the scenery outside. They could vaguely see the buildings outside, but there was a layer of black shadow. The color seemed to indicate that the entire building was under some form of attack. What's going on? Are the people outside not noticing what's going on here? Xingze asked. The building seemed to be shrouded in darkness, but from the transparent windows on the 11th floor, it was impossible to tell what the pedestrians outside were reacting to this. Not only the outside, but even the inside of this building is strange. There was quite a commotion just now, and it's so quiet around here. Aside from that black aura, I can't sense anything, Yufan said. Hearing this, Xingze became even more puzzled, and thoughtfully asked, what exactly is going on? It's probably a barrier-like technique. I've encountered it before, so it's not surprising if those outside the barrier can't detect it, Pingmin said. So it's also about being outside the elemental range, Xingze added. That's very likely, but even if that's the case, there are many similarities. According to the laws of life in all things, we must find a way to break this barrier. The strength of the barrier is proportional to the enemy's strength. The first thing we should do is try to leave here, Pingmin said. So, is it about forcing a breakthrough? Yufan responded. Pingmin didn't deny this, but Xingze, sensing the difficulty of the situation, took on a different demeanor. With these words, the three of them remained silent, but their goal was clear. Essentially, they wanted to leave the building. So the only thing they had to do was get down. They immediately headed for the elevator door. At this moment, several more beasts materialized from the surrounding black aura and pursued the three, but they were all reduced to ash by the red explosion. Pingmin pressed the elevator button, and the doors opened moments later, revealing a beast-like creature with hair and wings. Its eyes were dim and its face was ferocious, causing Pingmin to take several steps back. Immediately, the creature stepped out of the elevator, its steps steady, each one seemingly making the ground thud. Its size was several times smaller than the smaller ones they had encountered before, like a miniature giant. The elevator? Looks like we can't get there. A monster resembling a yaksha appeared before the three. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170 Black Shadow. Suddenly, a black monster appeared, barely 2 meters tall, as massive as a lion, its teeth razor sharp. It emerged from the elevator and attacked the three people. A faint, sinister aura emanated from it, sending a chill through the air. A yaksha-shaped monster suddenly appeared before it, its red star-shaped form blossoming into a crimson lotus. A resounding sound echoed. The monster, about to pounce, was flung back several meters, its body visibly scorched. Yufan's eyes shone with a different light, a crimson glow tinged with heat. She wasn't entirely clear on what was happening, but she knew a monster was about to attack the three people. It was clearly fanged and threatening to eat them. This caused her to ignite with rage, a fire that she embodied. Unlike the irrational rage of ordinary people, she controlled it. Instantly, the battered black yaksha leaped from the ground again, spreading its wings and soaring into the air, hovering back and forth, searching for an opportunity. Instantly, red sparks appeared around the yaksha. 5, 6, 7, 8, even more red dots than could be counted on 2 hands, exploded one after another, leaving the hovering yaksha with no chance to dodge and bringing it down in one fell swoop. Its body, scorched by the flames, was partially mutilated, with one hand severed. A black aura emanated from it, resembling both blood and mist. Then, enveloped by the surrounding black mist, it gradually healed its wound. It suddenly opened its mouth, touching the black liquid. With a gentle wave of Yufan's hand, the black liquid instantly evaporated before the blazing flames. This regenerative ability, perhaps related to the surrounding black mist? Then burn it all, Yufan declared, and a ring of fire suddenly rose around it, enveloping it in all directions. Burning in the crimson lotus fire, the yaksha tumbled on the ground, black smoke billowing from its body until it finally dissipated and vanished. Yufan's a very decisive move, but don't cut off your own escape route, Yuzayanin warned. It's not a problem, there's still a way to go towards the stairwell. Let's go, we can't stay here any longer, Pingman said. With that, the three of them descended towards the stairwell. There were also pockets of black mist below the stairwell, suggesting that it might be covering not just the 11th floor, but the entire building. They made their way from the 11th to the 10th, then from the 10th to the 9th, and finally down to the 6th floor. All the while, they maintained a cautious eye on their surroundings, but they didn't see a single person on those floors. They noticed something strange when they'd arrived before. There seemed to be so few people here, and now it seemed true. Not a single person was in sight. All they could see was the black mist and the black monster. At the staircase leading from the 6th floor to the 5th, a thick wall of black fog blocked the entrance, temporarily deterring them from descending. What is that? That fog looks dangerous, Yuzayanin said. The other two echoed the same sentiment, stopping a few meters in front of the fog. At that moment, a dark shadow emerged from the fog, slicing along the ground and approaching behind the three. Immediately, a young man emerged from the shadows. The three looked over, each recognizing him. He had dark purple hair and wore a uniform resembling a student's. This person was Wei Ying, another mission executor within the organization. Everyone, how are you? Wei Ying greeted the three people. Wei Ying, I told you before, if you deceive us, be prepared, Yufan said. You're right. You dare to appear in front of us. You are quite thick-skinned. What did you do? Yuzayanin said. Everyone calm down first. Listen to me before the war, Wei Ying said calmly. At this point, what credibility do your words have? But as a last word, please listen to it, Yufan said calmly. Hearing this, Wei Ying looked solemn and adjusted his breathing and said properly, I betrayed you. This is indeed as you think, but there is a reason. Let us tell you that the intelligence of the mission was exposed not long ago. You also know that from this incident, my path has been very dangerous. Here I encountered a new force. As you can see, this building is someone's power. Then I want to ask you a question. What do you think of your organization? Good or bad, right or wrong? Wei Ying paused, and seeing the three people were silent, he continued, it's not very good. Although it helped us grow, it also built a lot of pain on top of it since we were young. We were used to do some dangerous tasks. If we can't complete them, we may die. Those who escape may die. Those who are not strong enough will not survive. That's it, right? None of us can be called normal people. What do you want to say? Yufan said. Yufan, what I want to say is, don't you want to leave there? I think everyone will think so. If there is a better place, we should go there. How about joining our new organization together? I brought you here for this purpose, and what happened just now can only be said to be a test for you. Let's not talk about payment for now. At least you two are both strong people. Come together. This is the new settlement, Wei Ying said. Pingman? Do you mean what will happen to the weak guys? Yuzayanin asked. The weak can also survive. At least the environment is much better than before. As long as we follow that adult, it's okay. We will be protected. We are also pioneers. We have our own characteristics. That way there will be a better future, right? Wei Ying said. Let's not talk about that adult you're talking about for now. Let's get back to the beginning, Wei Ying. Do you have any reason for us to trust you right now? Yufan asked. Pingman understood the topic they were considering, as did the other two. Everyone wants to follow a more correct and beautiful path, but finding that path is difficult. It requires correct knowledge, correct actions, and good connections. First, can the young man standing before them be considered correct? If asked that question, all three would instantly answer in the negative. Hearing this, Yang shook his head slightly and said, I can't give it to you, but what about this power? As he said this, a black aura appeared in his hand, and a strange scene appeared. Entities like several snakes appeared in front of the three people. He said, this is part of the power given by that adult. It can be said to be magic. You have heard about it. The equipment inside that organization can locate and search for the whereabouts of people like us, so we can't escape no matter what. That organization is too powerful for us, but as long as we have this power, we will not only become more powerful, but also have the ability to avoid its search prop. Great, this way we can gain freedom. And we are no longer wandering because we have this new home, Yang said. At this time, next to Yang, the black aura gradually condensed into a circular mirror-like object, floating in the air, and a figure gradually emerged from it. The man, with brown hair and slightly closed eyes, appeared quite young. He asked, as this person said, joining us will give you a different future. But isn't it necessary for you? Hearing this, the three of them all had their own opinions on this question. It was a matter of great importance to them all. What kind of future did they want? You must be aware of our situation, so that's why you're saying that, Pingman replied. Yes, the benefits of joining us are at least as good as Yang mentioned. What you decide after that is your responsibility. I'm only responsible for telling you. How will you convince us of your words? Yuzayan asked. Hearing this, the other party replied, in a situation like this, actual facts are needed to prove my words true. So please take a look. As he finished speaking, the image on the round mirror changed, revealing two young girls sitting quietly in a dimly lit room. Those two people are, Yufan said, Feng Ling and Feng Chui. Yang answered for him. What did you do to those two people? Yuzayan said. At this time, the voice of the man before came from the round mirror. Those two people are somewhere nearby. Now you shouldn't be able to find them in your organization, right? What? Those two people are missing now, Pingman said. That's right. If you don't believe me, you can immediately contact the people at the top of the organization. I can tell you right away why they can't find the whereabouts of those two people. Is that your magic power? Pingman said again. As you said, this is a different power. A necessary power to the ultimate other side. Nonsense. What happened to those two people? Yuzayan asked again. They are fine now, but they are temporarily unable to move due to the influence of that magic power. The man appeared in the round mirror again and said, that's the case. Don't blame me. I was the one who took those two people there, Yang said. I see. Yufan understood the situation and said, well, what is your answer? Yang said, do you want to become a new partner, or other options? Chapter 171, Fight in the Building. On the 6th floor of a building on the western edge of the third area, Pingman, Yaofan, and Yuzayan reached the point of making a decision. So, what's your answer? The voice within the circular mirror said. Upon hearing this, the three glanced at each other, their gazes understanding. Without further ado, they understood the common answer. It could be said to be a negative. There's nothing to say. At Yaofan's words, a red spark appeared in front of the circular mirror, instantly releasing and transforming into a crimson lotus. An explosive storm erupted, causing Yang, standing nearby, to leap with magical power to the other side. Is that the answer? I see. But with this answer, don't think you can simply escape. Many things await you. Following the voice within the circular mirror, the suspended mirror dissipated into black mist. I don't care. There are two things we must do first, Yaofan said. Escape from here and find those two people, Yuzayan added. That's it, Pingman said. He agreed. In other words, the three had chosen to reject the invitation from that force. I've tried so hard to persuade you, but I didn't expect you to remain so unyielding. Well, there's nothing I can do. Let me say one final thing, even if you're unwilling, we have the means and power to compel your obedience, Yang said. 6 dark shadows entwined in front of his hand, like 6 snakes, slowly drifted around it. It's useless. The more you do this, the more you expose your foolishness, Yuzayan said. Right is often misunderstood, Yang said. Meanwhile, figures gradually began to appear from all directions, young women, men, and even older men in suits. Some of them appeared to be employees, others executives, or residents. A strange-looking man slowly approached the stairs leading to the 5th floor. He was tall, with greenish skin, over 2 meters tall and as muscular as a lion. That's why I told you. Skip the boring talk and get things done with direct action, That's the simplest and most effective way. The man slowly approached Wei Ying and said, I've done my best, considering we're from the same organization as those people. I'll leave the rest to you, Green Goblin. Wei Ying stepped aside. The Green Goblin and the people around him looked a little strange. Each one of them looked like they were still asleep, possessed, as if they were being controlled. They were now closing in on the three of them. What's wrong? These zombie-like people, Yu Xiaonan asked. They're being controlled, Yu Fan said. You should be more careful with your power. From what I see, those who appear to be working in this building are probably being controlled by that green man, Pingman said. You're right. It's not good to harm the citizens, Yu Xiaonan said. Wei Ying said, you're right. You'd better be careful. Suddenly, a red light flashed above the approaching crowd, then exploded, the force of which sent those who approached flying one after another. Yu Fan responded with action, attacking with precision and efficiency. Simultaneously, the figures' appearances shifted. Some sprouted long black blades like claws, while others, wielding weapons from the black mist, emerged, swords, spears, bows and arrows. They attacked frantically, charging with their weapons and bodies. Suddenly, an invisible energy coalesced, a stream the color of aqua. Suddenly, a stream of water flowed before the three men, scattering the abnormal beings beyond them. This force, a flowing liquid, water, was Yu Xiaonan's primary control. I'll provide backup, Yu Xiaonan said. The water flowed around the three men, dispersing the surrounding abnormal beings. Hearing this, Yu Fan said, then I'll go and take care of the leader over there. Let's do that, Yu Xiaonan said. Immediately, a path opened through the wall of water, and the red-haired girl stepped through it. Her form was shrouded in flames, and her leap was extraordinary, almost like a cannonball. In a flash, after 2 detours, she reached the green man's side and said, let me confirm. What is your purpose in appearing before us? Hearing this, the green demon turned his head and replied, to add companions, that is, to add subordinates. What a pity. As he spoke, flames materialized from the air in front of Yu Fan. Seeing this, the green demon launched a punch accompanied by a black aura, striking the girl in front of him. His fist cut through the scorching flames and air, striking the girl in front of him. But before he could do so, he struck a physical object, a red core, which appeared before the girl's eyes and collided with his massive fist. The part of it that was incarnated was earth. Although its primary element was fire, that didn't mean it couldn't use other elements. The combination of the 4 elements could produce unique phenomena, and this was one of them. The green demon's fist felt the heat of the red core, and his arm seemed to melt and evaporate. But the black magic from that fist was seeping in. The red core suddenly exploded, creating a powerful impact and instantly releasing even more intense heat. This caused the black mist to disperse further. The storm wave separated the two. Yu Fan, anticipating this, retreated a distance, while the green goblin was thrown back, crashing into the wall, his arm scorched. What a fierce heat! Is this fire? The green goblin sighed. Upon hearing this, Wei Ying said, hey, you're not saying I can't beat her, are you? If it were any other place, perhaps that would be the case, but here, with this permeating black aura, how could I lose? The green goblin said. As the green goblin's hand gradually healed, lingering in the black aura. Around it, the black mist materialized into several black beasts, similar in appearance to the small boar-shaped monsters from before. Are you okay? Wei Ying couldn't help but whisper. The green goblin instantly rose from the ground, his feet transforming into black mist. He charged at the red-haired girl, attempting a swift blow, but was dodged. He then launched a barrage of attacks, striking with sharp hands and feet like a ferocious beast, but the girl dodged them with seemingly simple movements. The green goblin was now surrounded by a circle of fire, the flames surging from all sides, engulfing him. The intense heat made him scream. Hey, Wei Ying felt a balance of power tilting in his favor. Shut up, watch me take care of you. Instantly, the green goblin burst from the flames, his hands swirling with black mist. His razor-sharp blades, like wolf's fangs, swung at him. His speed was sudden and swift, and with a flash of black light and shadow, he passed in front of the red-haired girl. For a moment, she appeared to be torn in two, but gradually disintegrated into flames. There was no actual sensation of flesh being torn apart. Suddenly, a red, scorching core appeared before its eyes, exploding in an instant, a massive crimson impact. The green goblin was instantly distorted by the intense heat, and several black beasts were subsequently scattered by the red blast. The green goblin's body was scorched and sent flying a long distance, unable to fight. Wait, Weiyang seemed a little panicked. After all, his seemingly reliable helper had been killed. Weiyang, it's your turn next. Come over here quietly. You understand, you're going to run away. I understand. Don't be violent, Yao Fan said. I understand. Don't be violent, Weiyang raised his hands. Judging from the situation, if he tried to escape, the woman in front of him might even have to blow up the building to find him. After all, she knew his abilities and was one of the top 10 in the organization. Chapter 172 Breakaway. Near sunrise, on the 6th floor of a building at the border of the 3rd area, the dark purple-haired teenager Weiyang, after the simple words of the GR trio, had given up on any further plans. Handcuffed to one side, Weiyang, in conversation with the trio, came to a new conclusion. We need to get out of here first. You can lead us, right? Yuzayanan said. That's right. With my abilities, I can escape this barrier, Weiyang said, looking down. He was being patted on one shoulder by Pingman, and the other side of the handcuffs was also attached to him. You know the whereabouts of the other two, right? Can you take us there? Yu Fan said, his fearful hand slowly approaching Weiyang's shoulder, prompting him to ask, wait a minute, Yu Fan, I do know the whereabouts of those two, but you should understand my predicament. Hearing this, Yu Fan said, you deserve it. It's nothing. Follow the right path and you'll suffer less. Weiyang was now caught between a rock and a hard place. His original opportunity to join this faction stemmed from his own pressure. While it seemed like a new opportunity, he was soon captured by members of his former organization. He couldn't help but understand the difficulties faced by those who yearned for a new life and the path to the ultimate other. And the people before him weren't all like him, little creatures struggling in their cages. I understand. I'll take you to find those two people right away. However, you'd better be prepared. You will meet that person there, even though he's nearby, Weiyang said. Hearing this, Yuzayanan said, that person? Who is the person you are talking about? You saw him just now. It's the person in the black round mirror, Weiyang responded frankly. Is that the person? Your boss is nearby, Yuzayanan said, probably so. The person in front is really troublesome. I'm not lying. He let me join here without even moving a muscle. There are even more terrifying guys above him. We are already in deep trouble. No matter how I look at it, I think it's better not to get involved in muddy waters, Weiyang said. Feng Zhu and Fengling, those two, have often done us favors in the past. They are in trouble now. There is no reason for us not to go, Yu Fan said. Does that mean you have decided to go? Weiyang said. Yes, Yu Fan said. Then she put her hand on Weiyang's shoulder. The latter also understood that the road ahead had to be taken, so she didn't say anything more. Instantly, he transformed into a dark shadow, sucking the four people in sight and stealing away towards their target. Soon, they followed the shadow, leaving the building and crossing the road that bordered the 3rd area. Following the shadow, they soon crossed a narrow street and arrived at an abandoned factory not far from the border, a site that was about to be rebuilt. The four of them suddenly emerged from the shadows and found themselves inside the factory. They were on the 1st floor, dimly lit and devoid of life. Is this the place? Pingman asked. That's right. The target should be in a room on the 2nd floor, Weiyang said. Pingman could sense that they had escaped the black fog that had enveloped the previous building, but now they had arrived in a gloomy place. But if they wanted to rescue someone, they had no choice but to go there. You lead the way, Yu Fan said. Upon hearing this, Weiyang replied, wait, it's dangerous. At least take off the handcuffs. The man might be nearby. Hurry up. While you're talking nonsense, you might attract the enemy's attention, which would be disastrous, Yuzayanan said, and began pushing from behind. Weiyang whispered, I know. I'll do it. Don't regret it later. It's better not to resist when you meet him. With these words, the four of them walked along the open space to the edge of the stairs leading to the upper level, moving quietly and cautiously. Finally, they reached the 2nd floor, Weiyang leading the way, Pingman behind them, and the two women flanking them. They advanced along the corridor, gradually seeing a hazy mist rising ahead. They knew that continuing forward would almost certainly lead to danger, but they had already decided to reach the two men and did not hesitate. Weiyang took a deep breath and continued forward, stepping into the hazy mist. The corridor ahead was lined with ancient rooms. The group reached the end of the corridor, the second to last room on the right, and Weiyang opened the door. With a clang, the door swung open, revealing a familiar atmosphere inside. Sitting in the corner were two girls. The opening of the door drew their attention, and they saw four people standing before them. Despite the dim light, they could still make out familiar faces, members of the organization. The two girls, with blonde hair, were about the same age as the GR trio. They were twin sisters, the elder, Feng Shu, dressed in green, and the younger, Fengling, dressed in light blue. Yu, his sister Feng Shu, hearing the wind, looked at them with a dim gaze, her consciousness still hazy. Feng Shu and Fengling, are you alright? Yao Fan asked. Fengling didn't react, and Feng Shu continued, her consciousness still unclear, be careful. As she spoke, several black beasts materialized from the black mist around the two of them, looking like guards, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Seeing Yao Fan, Wei Ying, Pingman, and the others already within range, they all glared fiercely and charged towards them. Instantly, a barrier of flames blocked the way, blocking the black beasts from approaching. The intense heat dispersed the black mist and gradually dissipated. This place looks dangerous. We should get these two away as soon as possible. Yao Fan and the others behind her moved towards the corner where the two were standing. One of their legs was shackled by an extended chain, which was quickly severed by her power. You two, can you still move? Hearing this, Feng Shui could vaguely sense a familiar, warm presence approaching. Are you Yu Fan? I didn't expect you to come. Meanwhile, the younger sister beside him also reacted, as if waking from sleep, sensing a different energy, perhaps brought by the red-haired girl. Stop talking. We need to get you out of here. The black aura here seems to be affecting you. If we stay too long, we might be in trouble, Yu Fan said. You're right. This is a power we've never seen before, Feng Shui said. Everyone present understood that they couldn't stay long in this place surrounded by black energy, so they each carried the two sisters on their backs and headed for the door. However, just as they reached the door, a dark figure appeared in the mist at the exit of the passage. As the mist dissipated, they could see a figure with brown hair, dressed in a white suit, and in his early 20s. Wei Ying was the first to sense something was wrong upon seeing this person. And then the others all sensed that this person before them was different from the black beasts or humanoids they had encountered before. We just met not long ago. I told you that things won't be that simple later. And Wei Ying, are you going to betray me now? Don't joke with me. Do you know my situation? I'm in a dilemma and I'm going to die anyway. How can my wise judgment be regarded as betrayal? Wei Ying suddenly felt fearless at this moment. Hearing this, the brown-haired man said again, I didn't mean that. What I said about betrayal is not betrayal. Anyway, you can't betray, don't worry, what are you talking about? What is your purpose in appearing in front of us? Yu Zian said, anyway, you came at the right time. Let's become one of us here together. This is your only choice. How about going back to the place where we were before and what we can find there? Can we get the answer? Again, we are indeed lost, but that doesn't mean that you or your power can help us solve the problem. Hearing this, the brown-haired man said, have you heard a story about a lost child who met someone who knew the way and showed the child the way, but the child refused the person's kindness and walked towards another road? Just like you, there was a wolf in sheep's clothing who came to lead the flock. The guy with sharp fangs and claws was impossible to trust from the beginning, Yu Zian responded. His words have expressed his attitude towards the person in front of him. Upon hearing this, the brown-haired man remained silent. Pingman reached out to remind Wei Ying, who understood and instantly used his power to create a black shadow on the ground, causing all 6 people to enter the black space. Then, they flew through the gaps between the houses and headed off into the distance, leaving the factory morning gradually fell in the city. Someone, whose primary goal was to find someone, approached the border of the third area. Chapter 173 Breakaway. The second day of the conference was particularly chilly this morning, shrouded by the drizzle of the previous night. Despite the bright sunshine, a distinct chill could still be felt within the vast conference hall of Area 2. Despite the early morning hours, the area was still crowded, as the conference was currently underway. At the border of Area 3, the group that had escaped from the abandoned factory, aided by the abilities of one young man, Wei Ying, reached the street outside the factory a moment later. 6 people appeared on the street, the sky still dim, and they were the only ones there. A moment later, a dark figure rapidly approached from the sky, hovering above the 6 people. Supported by Feng Shui and Fengling, they could not walk fast, and it was difficult for them to outrun the advancing figure from above. It was a jet black, purpose-built machine, approximately 12 meters tall, wielding a long, black sickle. At this moment, a voice rang out from the Mecha's loudspeaker. Weing, your ability allows you to move for extended periods in the shadows, but without a shadow, you can only move for about 3 seconds at most. Upon hearing this, Weing realized the other party had seen through her ability and said, that's right. It seems we won't be able to escape. There's no need to flee. Since they're determined to pursue us, we have no choice but to engage them, said Yu Xiaonan. Don't be like that. They're not someone you can handle, Weing said. We've been pushed to the limit. No matter what, we have no choice but to attack, said Yu Fan. As she finished speaking, her eyes glowed slightly crimson. Several red sparks appeared around the black humanoid mecha above her, exploding one after another. In an instant, the black shadow flashed, and the black mecha moved to the other side, reaching behind the 6 people. Its form was shrouded in a wisp of black mist. Its movement had made it impossible to discern its trajectory, as if it appeared and disappeared with a ghostly air. That size, and that speed, Yu Xiaonan said. Whatever happens, if you continue chasing us, we'll have to completely destroy you in that black mech, Yu Fan said. Upon hearing this, the black mech spoke from above. Is that so? Then come on. How are you, tiny beings, going to fight? At this point, Yu Fan had no intention of holding back. Even if it affected the surrounding streets and buildings, he was determined to bring down the creature harassing him and his men from above. Instantly, red flame cores appeared in the sky one after another, and the black mech dodged them with ghostly speed. However, this time, unlike before, the flame cores were even more powerful, more numerous, and even more explosive. Streets and buildings were affected, and explosions echoed one after another. The black mech was also partially affected, and the blast wave caught it off guard. It's impressive. She's just a young girl, yet she possesses such power. But how should we put it? Elite level. Alright, let's run now. That guy doesn't look like he wants to fight us seriously, Weing said hurriedly. Yu Fan, still unleashing his might, prioritized escorting the 2 men away, temporarily holding off on unleashing his full firepower on the mech. Following Weing and Pingman into the shadows at the corner, everyone else, using Weing's power, slipped back into the shadows. Following Weing's shadow power, they moved further. From one street to another, into a small harbor. 6 people reappeared. That guy's a bit much? What's elite level? Yu Fan's abilities should be more than that, Yu Xiaonan suddenly said, carrying a disabled girl on her back. That's enough. It'll be hard for that guy to catch up here, Weing said. You too, that piece of junk. I'll be able to take care of it. If they dare to come after me again, right, that arrogant fellow, Yao Fan said, her gaze returning to its original color. You're not battle-crazed either. You should find a place to hide. The recovery of those 2 is the priority right now, Pingman said. With these words, the group advanced along the small harbor and onto the other side of the street. The people on the street looked unusual, their gazes fixed on the nearby street, the street where Yao Fan had previously displayed his might. The explosion seemed to have triggered a reaction from the citizens, and the black mech in the center was now surrounded by several special mech security guards. Surrounding the black and white police-shaped mecha, the guard declared, suspicious mecha over there, land immediately. Pilot, exit the cockpit immediately. You have violated city security laws, wantonly vandalized the streets, and used dangerous weapons. Regardless of your reason, surrender immediately and exit the mecha. The mecha's red lights flashed, attracting the attention of many, including Pingman and the others. Excuse me, but I didn't use any weapons, nor did I vandalize the streets. That wasn't me, a voice from the black mecha declared. While it was true, the guards weren't prepared to take it at face value. I don't need your explanation now. Get out of the mecha, the guard added. You're being unreasonable. I don't have time for this right now. Get out of the way. With that, the black mecha instantly exploded into full power, piercing through the gap between the 2 sky-shaped police mechas like a bolt of black lightning. In that instant, both mechas were partially severed, a wing on one side, a third of the other. Both were rendered inoperable, along with Sun Jian. Damn it. How dare you attack the police? Seize that black mech. It's a B+ build, probably a hybrid. Seize it, the guard said. Use the capture net to stop it. Weapons permission granted, another guard said. Aim at the wings, sniper rifle permission granted. With that, the police aircraft deployed, instantly forming a network across the sky, Several large nets spread out in an attempt to block the black mech's path. On the other side, the sky-shaped police aircraft began to strafing the black mech. However, at the opponent's blistering speed, not a single bullet was caught. As it passed the police aircraft, a flash of black light flashed by, and the police aircraft was severely damaged, instantly rendered inoperable. Seeing the red warning, the pilot immediately activated the escape hatch, and the mech exploded moments later due to internal energy disorder. "What's with it, mech? It's so far behind us," a security officer said. The next moment, its black mech, with its black sickle, ripped a hole in the net and flew off to the other side. A police aircraft behind them, firing an anti-tank sniper rifle at the enemy's back, was easily slashed by its black mist-filled sickle. "Damn, it looks like an elite-level mech, no less. And that black sickle, there was a mech user very similar to that one 2 years ago," said the security captain who had fired the weapon. "You're right, it's a capable mech user who's been missing for quite some time. I think they were called the Black Reaper." The mech then flew off in another direction. The brown-haired man inside, fearing unnecessary commotion, also attempted to hide it. On the other side of the street, the black humanoid mech quickly vanished from view. Harriman and the others also observed it. "Serves us right for getting harassed by a police plane. Let's get away from that guy now," Weiyang said. "That's right. First, we need to get these two to hospital or something like that," Yuzayanan said. With that, the group began to move toward the other side of the street. Not far ahead, a young woman with short blonde hair, her bangs almost as long as her bangs, approached. She was dressed in a dark gold, and her hair was even bolder than the other two girls, likely battered by the wind and rain, giving it a frizzy texture. Pingman and the others couldn't help but notice the approaching figure. Chapter 174 The End of the Event. The visitor was Caramon Rowe, a member of the Elemental Organization. After a while, the woman came to Pingman and others, and when she saw the two people who were now beside them, Fengchu and Fengling, she realized that the two seemed to have been rescued, and said, "Pingman, you took them both out, right?" Caramon Rowe said. Hearing this, Pingman said, "It can be said that this is the case. The two were taken away by people from different forces just now. They are still unconscious and need to be taken to a place like a hospital to rest." "Are there still people chasing you?" Caramon Rowe said again. "They were chased not long ago, and now their whereabouts are temporarily unknown," Pingman replied. "Take those two to a nearby place to recuperate. I will help you get rid of the pursuer next," Caramon Rowe said. "No, you have also joined this mission," Yuzayanan said. "Yes, Miss Caramon Rowe, do you know who is chasing us?" Pingman asked again. "I know, otherwise I wouldn't say I was going to chase that target. You go, leave the rest to me, go south. It will be relatively safer there," Caramon Rowe said. "I understand, let's go," Pingman said then. Several people understood and continued their movement using their shadow abilities. After watching everyone leave, Caramon Rowe turned in the other direction. She could sense a chilling aura that threatened to harm those people. She continued in that direction, following a bend in the road. On a less crowded path, she spotted the brown-haired man and asked, "Are you planning to continue chasing those people?" "Is that what you mean?" The brown-haired young man replied, "Whatever. I'm free to do what I want, don't even think about it." Instantly, several sharp blades made of rock and earth condensed in the air and attacked the man before them, each one dispelled by the black aura. "Don't worry, young girl. Are you also one of those people? I don't want to answer vague questions," Caramon Rowe said. She now understood that the man before her was extraordinary and prepared accordingly. Seeing the woman before him radiating a subtle energy, the brown-haired young man realized the situation wasn't looking good. "Wait, forget it this time. I won't continue chasing those people. You should also stop, you don't want to cause a commotion, right?" "Really? That's a good guess. I'll find an opportunity to attack next time, and then I'll show no mercy," Caramon Rowe said. Hearing this, the brown-haired man chuckled and said, "Okay, we both will." Caramon Rowe turned and walked to the other side of the road. The person before her was both dangerous and mysterious. Letting her continue might cause trouble, but dealing with that person wasn't her priority right now. Having found her, she returned to her original mission, guarding the white-haired girl. Meanwhile, the brown-haired man smiled silently. He had previously said that those people couldn't escape or betray him. The reason for this was unknown to those now evading them on the other side. It's difficult for those once infected by the black aura to completely escape. It lingers deep within the consciousness, occasionally surfacing. To this person, none of this was important. On the second day of the Mecha conference, the usual day-long program was carried out. Meanwhile, those involved in the open and covert struggles, or those caught up in them, finally had a moment of respite after their ordeal. At noon that day, the higher-ups at the Elemental Organizations Center contacted the control center at New Century City. The request came from the Elemental Organization. A doctor in white who was in his early 50s said, "The internal strife has been going on for quite a while. It's almost time for us to come to an end." Dr. Zhu Fen, who was facing him head-on, responded, "The strengths and weaknesses of both sides can be seen." "Don't you think so?" "That's right, Dr. Zhu Fen. My work and your work have not yet reached where they should be. So I have a proposal. Let's call a truce for the time being, for the benefit of both sides." "So what bad idea have you come up with? Are you just going to simply withdraw your troops and go home, or do you think you have the upper hand?" Dr. Zhu Feng said, "How could that be? That's our secret weapon. Even if we win, it would be a misunderstanding. It's just personal strength. The reason I made this suggestion is for the sake of reaching higher heights in science and technology. Zhu Fen, next I will let my beloved subordinates go to your city to study. We might as well promote the relationship between the two sides." "How about it?" "You mean, we use each other? It doesn't matter. This is a relationship, compete with each other. Well, if you want to learn, then come on over. I'll find some seats for you. Goodbye then." The screen then cut out, and the doctor in the control room at the underground center of the Elemental Organization turned and left. Observing the events that had unfolded, he had a different perspective on these elemental messengers. He believed they deserved more opportunities for development, and that he could further prepare for his own plans. The second day of the conference came to a close, and Pingman and the others received a call from higher-ups, informing them that their mission had concluded and that they would remain in the city. Pingman, Yaofen, Weiying, Yuzianan, Feng Shu, and Fengling all felt the same way. This latest news was met with mixed feelings, but not unacceptable. The following night, they found a shelter and stayed there, reconsidering their next plans. Prior to that, Feng Shu and Fengling, the two affected individuals, had been diagnosed by a doctor and confirmed to be in good health. A good night's rest was enough to suffice. After confirming the presence of the four people outside the medical room, they headed toward the hall. Once there, they all sat down on the sofas. One of the young men, Weiying, said, "I didn't expect it to turn out like this. My luck seems pretty good. It seems we're about to start a new life. Weiying, you should thank us. When Karamonro came, we didn't tell him how those two were abducted," Yuzianan said. Hearing this, Weiying fell silent. If it were discovered that it was Weiying who had abducted those two, Karamonro might tear him to pieces. That person had always left that impression on him. "You're right, you're really lucky. Now you can go to the school you've always dreamed of, right? You don't have to wear that uniform anymore," Pingman said. "What are you talking about? What good is that, idiot? I've been in danger every time, and I won't be like this again," Weiying said. He no longer considered the future, but took things one step at a time. "What makes me feel strange about this mission is Yuanayu. If she joins, there will be people to restrict her," Yufang said. "That's Karamonro, isn't it? Otherwise, what other reason would there be?" Weiying said. Then everyone temporarily put aside their doubts and prepared to adapt to the new environment. Chapter 175 Follow-up. On the third day of the conference, the mission was announced to be over, and both the Elemental and New Century City factions ceased their open and covert infighting, allowing the conference to proceed normally. Despite this, many understood that the triggering events of this incident could be easily covered up, and it was unlikely. Just as the lives of those whose lives would be changed by this incident, Pingman, Weiying, and others who would soon be caught up in it, appeared to be wrapping up, there was someone on the border of the New Century City's 4th District who was reluctant to accept the changes. This person, with snow-white hair and gray clothes, was located in a park on the edge of the 4th District. She was dissatisfied with the aftermath of this mission. After this mission, most of the young people who participated would remain in the city to start a new life, but she would have to leave and return to headquarters. It seemed unfair to her. Yuanayu, although aware of her somewhat special existence, did not find it reassuring. Therefore, she decided not to follow the orders from above and planned to stay. She briefly considered this, but then, a woman with short blonde hair appeared before her. Yuanayu knew her, Kara Monroe. Kara Monroe approached Yuanayu and said, Yuanayu, our mission is over. It's time to return. Kara Monroe, please don't. You go back first. I don't want to go back just yet, Yuanayu replied. Kara Monroe replied, I haven't done anything yet, but the orders from above say we should return. Let's go together. I won't. For a moment, the two of them froze in the bushes of the park. Then, Kara Monroe said, that won't work. My job is to watch over you. Don't disobey orders. No, even if you say so, I don't want to leave. You're not saying you don't want to leave, Kara Monroe said. Suddenly sensing that something was not going on, Kara Monroe radiated a subtle energy, her hair becoming even more golden. Stubborn, Kara Monroe, are you just a machine that obeys the higher-ups' orders? No way, I don't want to answer vague questions. What's a machine? As she spoke, an invisible force swept through, like a gust of wind, tearing a huge gap in the tree beside Yuanayu. The strange gap didn't seem cut, but destroyed. For a moment, Yuanayu seemed to realize she'd said something wrong, but it was too late. Want to fight, Kara Monroe? Yuanayu asked. The birds and flying creatures that had been playing in the sun and shade scattered, instinctively sensing danger. If you don't plan to go back, this is the only way, Miss Yuanayu. I haven't seen your power yet. I heard you're very special. Please let me see what's going on, Yuanayu said. Suddenly, she stretched out a hand, and a large amount of the naturally blowing wind gathered in front of her, forming a spiral of wind energy. This turbulent flow then formed a series of wind blades that struck the woman before her. The wind blades fell silent and unresponsive when they reached Kara Monroe, no matter how long they lasted. Yuanayu then stopped using the wind and said, it's ineffective. Are you truly different? Instantly, a core of white light materialized in the air. Its small prokaryotic bodies shone, radiating light and expanding, creating a powerful gust of wind. A loud crash echoed through the park as the white light was released. A cloud of dust rose, and after a gentle breeze, the blonde woman remained standing. She hadn't even done anything, and felt no reaction to the energy release. Miss Yuanayu, I can tell you that my ability is the decomposition and regeneration of elements, said Kara Monroe. Hearing this, Yuanayu said, what an interesting ability. Was it just decomposition just now? The people above sent me to monitor you for this very reason. Miss Yuanayu, you can't defeat me, really? You won't know until you try, Yuanayu said. As she spoke, white cores appeared around her, radiating light and about to expand. But before they could do so, they vanished one after another, like extinguished candles. Yuanayu seemed to truly understand the other party's incredulity, but this didn't make her feel that she was an unbeatable opponent. Instantly, a white core appeared further away from Kara Monroe, reaching the man with a wide, long-range impact. The white cores exploded one after another, flashing with strange light. The impact rippled through the surrounding dust, yet Kara Monroe, standing in the center, remained unfazed, remaining calm and composed. Yuanayu, you should understand now. That's useless, Kara Monroe whispered. I don't understand what you're talking about. Yuanayu ignored Kara Monroe's words. Suddenly, the ground beneath Kara Monroe's feet gave way, sinking into a pit. The surrounding sand and earth buried her. So, you're so arrogant, saying you can't defeat me? Who are you talking to? I control all the elements, Yuanayu said. Kara Monroe's decomposition, meaning the neutralization of the elements, was limited to her body, expanding her attack range and allowing her to be controlled by the environment. Suddenly, the ground shook slightly, and a petite figure emerged from the earth like a streak of golden light, sending the surrounding debris flying towards Yuanayu. Yuanayu blocked them with a barrier and prepared for her second attack. Suddenly, she lifted up a large amount of rock and soil from the ground, transforming it into a series of barriers that surged forward like waves. Kara Monroe hovered in the air, piercing through layers of rock in one breath. With incredible speed, she approached Yuanayu and, with a flash of speed, passed by, slicing along the edge of Yuanayu's arm. In that instant, a portion of her arm was completely detached. Yuanayu's left hand was missing a third. Noticing this, Yuanayu, resigned to the pain, cast a malicious glance at Kara Monroe, who had come up behind her. Yuanayu, even if I take away a part of your body, as long as I can guarantee your life and wisdom, it's fine. That's what it says. What a cruel man. How could you treat me like this? It's truly sad, Yuanayu said, gently covering her hand. Kara Monroe remained emotionless, observing everything before her coldly. Yuan Yu's figure shone, her eyes and hair aglow with a multicolored light. Her missing left hand gradually returned to its original state. Although this is a scene that shouldn't be seen, there's no other way. It seems Kara Munro must seriously challenge you. Kara Munro remained silent. She had no control over how the situation unfolded, and another large-scale battle was likely unavoidable, but she had no other choice. Even though the ability to decompose and regenerate elements could neutralize all of Yuan Yu's moves, victory in battle wasn't limited to the nature of the ability, the amount of energy, luck, or even subtle shifts in values. Let's begin. Seeing neither side would back down, Yuan Yu slowly extended a hand, about to ring the bell for battle. At that moment, a flash of green-red light appeared, and a figure appeared before the two. Wait a moment, what are you going to do next? I had sensed the commotion here not long ago and had come here. One of the people I knew well was Yuan Yu, the man I had seen on the stage on the first night of the conference. Upon hearing this, Yuan Yu looked towards me and said, "You are Xingze. Why are you here? It's just a coincidence, outsiders. We're on a mission right now. Outsiders shouldn't get in the way," said Kara Munro. I had no intention of retreating. Seeing this, Kara Munro suddenly soared towards me, one hand thrusting towards me. Seeing the dangerous energy contained within her, I radiated a green light, creating a barrier of green light to block the approach of that dangerous energy. Kara Munro's hand collided with a barrier of light, unable to advance even an inch. Seeing this, Yuan Yu, standing beside me, also had a glint of fear in her eyes. She knew it was a hand that could decompose elements. Since the human body is composed of elements, it would disintegrate if touched. But the light barrier resisted, leaving Kara Munro perplexed. She withdrew her hand, a look of confusion in her eyes. In her view, everything was composed of elements, there should be nothing that couldn't be dissolved, not even light. So what had she touched? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.